Hi, this is Holly Knight. I am a Songwriting Hall of Famer, and you're listening to Tom and Zeus on Shout It Out Loudcast.
Legends have been made, and in 1975, Led Zeppelin reached the heights they never knew were possible with their creative masterpiece, Physical Graffiti. Welcome, everybody, to the Led Zeppelin Chronicles. I know it's been a while, but here we are again.
It has been a year, and I cannot believe that it's been a year since Houses of the Holy. It could be a multitude of reasons. We're all busy, we got a lot going on, or we're just too afraid to attack Physical Graffiti and its 15 songs, right, boys?
All I have to say is that nothing says the holiday season, happy holidays, gents, nothing says wrapping presents with your spouse with not Frosty the Snowman, but Sick Again playing in the background.
That's right, baby. Maybe this will become the Christmas tradition, Zeus. We just save Zeppelin Chronicles for December every year.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're finally here, and because this episode is going to take 2 years, we're going to get right into it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we did Houses of the Holy last time, and now we're getting to the double album called Physical Graffiti. Let's start with Tom. Memories of it?
Yeah, so it's funny because I was thinking of this preparing for the episode, and I think I probably have said the same thing for every Zeppelin album that we've done. I don't have any concrete recollections of my first experience with almost any Zeppelin album. I just feel like Zeppelin was just absorbed by me over the years as a music fan. But I do feel like that Physical Graffiti was one of those albums that I got into like older. I think like the box set kind of opened up my eyes to like the full swath of the 15 songs, because some of these songs that we'll get into are obviously classic rock radio. You know them. But there's a ton of deep cuts on here. There's a ton of like mixed level songs. So I don't have that moment where I'm like, I remember buying Physical Graffiti. I don't have that. It just feels like it's always been a part of my life. And I feel like that is with every Zeppelin song. But I said before we started recording, I feel like this entire podcast was created for this moment to get to Physical Graffiti. So I'm pretty jacked. Murph.
Yeah, Tommy, similar to you, I don't remember discovering this album. I've talked about before, I think it was the box set that kind of sprinkled some of those songs. But you already alluded to it. You have to, I feel like, be of a certain age to appreciate this album. As the band progressed through their catalog, matured, if you will, in their creativity, that this is something that coming to this album a little older in life actually probably made me learn to appreciate it more.
Yeah. Jay.
My earliest memories of Zeppelin and Physical Graffiti came from the song Kashmir. Mm-hmm. And I remember driving home from a family Christmas holiday party in the back seat of my parents' Buick. And there was a rock radio station, I think it was maybe the Loop here in Chicago, and they were playing Kashmir. And I remember just being intrigued by it because it sounded different, didn't sound like anything that I had heard before, and it was very familiar to the James Bond theme, which I kind of correlated with it. But as far as the album, I think like you guys, the box set exposed me to the other songs on it. And every time I liked a song on the box set that I had not heard of before, it was usually from Physical Graffiti. So years later, I always talk about the impact my cousin's visit from California with the Zeppelin bootlegs. It was probably the first or maybe the second album I ever purchased by Zeppelin. And I was probably at least a senior in high school or, out of high school at the time when I got it. But I just remember the impact it had because of all the songs I liked on the box set that were from Physical Graffiti.
Zeus.
I'm the same way. I don't remember this album. I remember getting Zeppelin 3. I remember getting Zeppelin 4. I remember the rest of them. Physical Graffiti always seemed to be the other people's Led Zeppelin album. Like, dude, where am I going to tackle this? This is like a million songs on this. Oh, I didn't even recognize Kashmir. I never heard it on the radio. I never knew of it. I didn't recognize a lot of the songs on here. We get to college, and all of a sudden we're fucking around, and somebody will blast the Rover. Mm-hmm. And it's like, whoa, oh yeah, this rocks. And from there, you start being like, oh, wow, I'm digging these songs that I don't really know. And it took off. I think it's very similar path as all you guys. Nobody, I think, is saying, oh, I remember exactly when I got Physical Graffiti. I bought it this. Oh, my cousin brought it as soon as he came over and he played it. I don't remember it at all. Again, it's easy to remember the digit number albums, 1 and 4 and 2, but Physical Graffiti is this kind of own thing. And then when you get into it, it becomes this whole like mass of like brilliance that you didn't even know existed. And there it comes out. So what we do next is we go to the cover, which is funny because we actually made a point of it to see this cover a little more than a year ago.
That's right.
When we were in New York celebrating Kiss's end of the road finale debacle, we stopped by and we went to the actual building, right, Tom?
Yeah. Yep, we did. It's at 9698 St. Mark's Place in New York City. It is just one of the most iconic album covers you've ever seen. It's got a die-cut sleeve design with the windows, and I have the vinyl. I actually have the deluxe box sets of every Zeppelin album, the one that Jimmy Page released with the books this one's wild because the CD and the vinyl are the same. It kind of slides out, and then the album covers themselves have like people in the windows, different pop culture references, members of the band, different like artwork. And then the die cut has like the letters, spelling out Physical Graffiti. It's incredible. And one of the reasons why the production of the album or the release of the album was delayed was because there was a lot of like, quote unquote difficulty kind of getting it out. It was really difficult to manufacture back in the mid 70s for them to get this out and do it. It was created by a guy named Peter Corriston. And of course, we all made the joke when we went to visit it that it was the same stoop as the Rolling Stones video Waiting on a Friend.
Horrendous video. Horrendous.
Those, if you didn't know anybody, you would think that was a video of just homeless people at the 6 o'clock news.
Or like a late 70s sitcom intro.
Yes, yeah.
Mentally disturbed people walking down the street, and you're like, what the fuck are these people?
But real quick, before I pass it on, I just think this album cover is just bonkers for 1975. I mean, bands now don't even do this kind of shit. But yeah, Murph, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I know, Tom. Over the years, you will reference the term iconic, but I think for this example, where the four of us we were there with Brad, Backpack Brad, and Tali. And what we ended up doing was you have to go out of the way. It is not easy to get to this place.
No.
And that while we were there, and then Zeus was doing his Mick Jagger Waiting on a Friend imitation, other people
right?
Yeah.
Other people were going for pictures. So for people to go during the day to this, that has no indication that is and no reference other than my daughter who lives down the area telling me that there was a tea shop in the basement that was called Physical Graffiti.
We saw that. That was there when we went there.
It's pretty cool that something tied to such a memorable, iconic album has a place where people can go and get a little more of a connection with that place.
Kind of real quick, kind of like the Dress to Kill spot, that street corner we got our picture taken there too as well. Exactly. But Jay, Physical Graffiti album cover.
It's an intriguing album cover. It's on its surface, it's an apartment building, right?
Yeah.
And as you look more into it, it becomes more intriguing, like with the slots that come out of it and the packaging the way it was. And the packaging was very important to Zeppelin. And when you think back of the impact Zeppelin had musically within the industry, the way they packaged their albums, because Peter Grant basically forced Atlantic Records to pay for this stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's why a lot of albums prior to Zeppelin, other bands, didn't really have the packaging that some of these albums had. Like you think about, we're going to get to In Through the Outdoor 10 years from now, and we're going to talk about the brown paper bag, the vinyl on that. That was all Peter Grant. That was all Zeppelin coming together and creating these things, and Peter Grant having Atlantic Records pay for that. And that was very influential in the business because it really started these unique packagings for albums and different things. I believe, Sticky Fingers from Rolling Stone at the time was probably the only other variants of packaging, with the zipper that actually came on the vinyl. So it's a very important album in musically, but it's also important in the way it's presented because it had so much impact in the industry.
So my recollection of that trip to New York and seeing it was seeing that smashed up bicycle that we all were thinking that it was
the street,
that we thought was like Ace Frehley. Oh shit, I'm gonna be late. End of the he
took a picture waiting on a friend. That was me on the stoop with Mick.
Yeah, they were waiting on me to score some blow. Oh. I love the packaging. We just said iconic, right?
Yeah.
What Zeppelin album isn't iconic, though?
It's so true. It's so true.
You can't say that about any of them. Every single thing is like legendary. Now, as far as like the packaging that they set up, it's just because Zeppelin made it like almost like an art form, and people were doing that. People gave a shit, and so you wanted to buy the physical product, and you would sit there because you didn't have the internet to dissect it. You were just, I gotta have this in my own hands. Fuck around with it, check it out, see who this guy is, come up with theories with your friends, and it was just different times. Now they took the fun out of it, and packaging isn't important.
If you go to iTunes today and pull up the album, the shades are opening.
Oh, it's like animated, yeah.
Fuck iTunes.
But you know what, Zeus? You brought up a good point real quick because I'm like a vinyl geek. So rather than put their energy and efforts towards album artwork, now what do? We always laugh about it. Ooh, red splatter vinyl, purple and green split. But like that's where their energy is going into because that doesn't cost as much. I mean, it costs money. But to create an album cover like Physical Graffiti, bands are like, we're not doing that. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And so now they want to try to make it, creative and enticing somehow. So like, ooh, Ace Frehley is going to sell 30 variants of 10,000 volts, each with one color from the Crayola box. And that's going to be what's going to get you to buy it.
I want to make a fortune.
But one thing I did want to say, just kind of talking about the general aspects of this, Zeus, you kind of talked about like how Physical Graffiti is like kind of like everything, that kind of led up to the first four albums. And it's funny because I think that's the thing. Like Zeppelin 1 is like, that's the blues album, like a lot of covers. Zeppelin 2, that's like that classic rock album. 3 is the acoustic album. 4 is the big monolith legend album. Houses of the Holy is kind of like their eclectic mix of stuff. Then Physical Graffiti comes in. It's like, this is Zeppelin pretty much taking over the fucking world and being like, this is everything from all of our first 5 albums put together. There's not 8 songs. There's not 10 songs. There's not 12 songs. There's 15 fucking songs on this piece, and it's a double album.
Well, it also speaks to their diversity, too. Like
exactly, yes.
Like you hear songs like The Rover, which is blues-based, In My Time of Dying, blues-based.
Yep.
And then you get to stuff like In the Light, which is kind of proggy.
Yep.
And you get to Kashmir with these Middle Eastern arrangements and everything. They're pushing the envelope, with the whole, with all their music. And then you hear something with the subtleties of 10 Years Gone. And you've got a folk song like Black Country Woman, and you got a barroom boogie song like Boogie with Stew. It's just like,
it's everything.
It's everything. I mean, and that's why and we'll get more into this, but why it's so great and why I think it's their best album ever, and I think it's the best album ever released, is it embodies what the greatest band ever to walk the planet was. I mean, like, if you want to describe Zeppelin, someone says, well, describe Zeppelin to me, I'm like, well, instead of putting the words, just listen to Physical Graffiti, and that has everything you need to have with Zeppelin.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, obviously we're going to break down all the 15 songs, but it's everything. It's everything that you loved about those first 5 albums. It's put together, like you said. There's rock, there's blues, there's country, there's prog, there's like acoustic. There's everything that you loved about Zeppelin 3. That's on Physical Graffiti. Everything you loved about 2. It's all here. And like I said, we get excited to talk about Zeppelin, period, because that's why we do this. But just tackling this album is just, it's Murph said it perfectly. 9:00 Eastern time, it's breakfast with Bonzo right now. Yeah. So I'm fucking loving it.
And I don't have any pants on during this episode.
No,
it's too early
Boogie with Stu and Jay's got no pants. Zeus, are you wearing pants?
Not for this, no. So let's take a quick little break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Let's get into some of the facts.
Yeah.
So the album was released February 24th, 1975, produced only by Jimmy Page, credit-wise. 6th studio album. First under the new Swan Song label.
What was the first album on Swan Song?
Wasn't that Bad Company?
That's right. Their debut album.
Their debut, right?
Yep, that's right.
Wasn't the band Detective on Swan Song?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were too. Yep.
Yeah.
The album made it to number 1 in the UK and the US. It went all the way up to 32 times platinum in the US.
That's fucking insane.
So because it's a double album, it's 16 million units sold, but they count as double, so
that is such a scam.
This is a double album, 16 million copies sold.
Yeah.
It is just out of this world. Now, the thing that it's also famous for is the fact that there are 15 tracks, but then there are 8 new real tracks.
Yep.
And 7 kind of retreads, as you might want to say, right?
Because the original, the total playing time equaled about 3 sides of an album. So they said, let's expand it, and we'll take some songs from the first few albums, kind of remix them or do different things and make it a full 4-sided album. Yeah.
So the new songs are basically Custard Pie, My Time of Dying, Trampled Underfoot, Kashmir, In the Light, 10 Years Gone, the Wonton Song, right?
And you mean all the shitty songs on the album? Or the
wasn't Black Country Woman a new one?
Nope.
No.
That was from Houses of the Holy.
Yep.
Okay.
Houses of the Holy from Houses of the Holy, and so was the Rover.
Yep.
Zeppelin 3 had Bron-Yr-Aur. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, and somebody will be like, oh, you're not saying it right. Whatever. Zeppelin 4 had Down by the Seaside, Night Flight, and Boogie with Stu.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that shit. I love being like, oh, that's from that album. That's what this album. And the fact that they didn't just throw this shit away. They brought it all back and made this double album. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Have you ever done the what ifs? Like if you had Night Flight on Led Zeppelin 4 instead of 4 Sticks, or if you had Down by the Seaside, Zeppelin 4.
If you had a piece of shit instead of 4 Sticks, you'd still be better.
We do that all the time. We talk about the Kiss records. Like if you put one song here, put one song there, like what would have happened? But one bit of trivia I like, because I never knew this until we started digging into getting prepared for this. The term physical graffiti was coined by Jimmy Page to illustrate the physical and written energy that had gone into producing the album. Settle down, Jimmy Page.
I was going to just say that.
Yeah. He was a heroin addict, so maybe he was a little delusional.
Yeah, they were all sorts of fucked up during this thing. I mean, this is like full blown.
It was just as fucked up, too.
One of the things, too, before we start getting so I found it interesting that Ron Nevison, who we kind of go after a little bit with his involvement with Kiss, he engineered this, and there's a documentary on Amazon Prime I shared with you guys. I'm not sure if any of you had a chance to watch it, but kind of like it's one of those like homemade British documentaries about the making of this album.
Does it have that guy with the teeth?
Yes, Malcolm Dome, rest in peace. He's since passed away. Yeah, he's all over that thing. But Ron Nevison had a kind of a funny story about how they stayed on site. Like, he stayed on site with the guys, like, while they were writing and producing. And at, 3, 4 in the morning, the guys would be, knocking on his door, looking for booze and looking for drugs and looking for stuff. And finally, Ron Nevison was like, you know what? We're going to lock up at night. I'm going to go home and get away from these guys, because if they have access to me, this is just going to turn into a bigger mess. And it was really interesting, because I'm like, Ron Nevison, didn't that guy produce, shitty Kiss records?
Well, he also produced all those Heart records in the 80s, too.
Yeah,
right?
no, he was huge with production and engineering.
It's always funny that, Zeppelin's, the only real band that I know they're engineers.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it's true.
And then I know who did what on what album. Andy Johns, fucking Eddie Kramer, Ron Nevison.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Wasn't Glenn Johns part of that too? Or Adam Johns, maybe?
Yeah, Andy, I think.
Andy.
But regardless.
Well, it was because of their production. I mean, when you think about what Zeppelin did, it was so groundbreaking. It was different than any other band at the time. And that's why I think that stuff, because of that.
Yeah. Kiss was writing fucking room service when fucking Physical Graffiti was coming out.
Room service and love theme from Kiss. Baby, you could use a meal. Anyway, when we wake Murph up, we'll start with the first track. It's called This.
All right, so the album kicks off with Custard Pie. Oh, boy, I'm telling you, this is going to be as excited as I was to talk about Physical Graffiti, it's also going to be like a challenge. It's one of those albums. It's like, what do you say here? It's an incredible opener. I like how it has a little bit of an off-tempo groove with the riff and the drums. And right off the bat, for me, that this is something different. This is something different. And I'm going to get this right out of the way now, the first of 15 songs. I'm a Bonham guy. I'm a drum guy. This is Bonham's fucking album right here. And it starts off right. The way he is just destroying the kick drum in every song, including this. Great solo by Jimmy Page. Great harmonica solo. Great effects by John Paul Jones on this. I mean, right out of the gate, they're just saying that Zeppelin is back, baby, and just get ready. It's a staple of classic rock. I love it. It's one of those songs I never get sick of, because we all talk about fatigue. But coming out of here with all 4 members just doing their thing, Plant sounds incredible. Just a killer way to kick off the album.
So I've been mentioning on the previous recordings how each of the opening tracks just knocks it out of the park, and they continue it here. I just think they have demonstrated a special gift of picking the right song. It's not the best song, but it's the right song to start off the album, in which just that gritty, dirty sound.
Yeah.
What's interesting, Tommy, is that I actually wrote last night, I thought this was more of a Page album, and I'll go into it more. But throughout particular tracks, Bonham's gift is just evident. But I think also just how they evolved as a band, that I've mentioned over the years, that I'll tend to get hooked to a song by the sound and then listen to the lyrics. And obviously it is just, the dirty double entendre lyrics, but it's their own lyrics. They're not, having those, is it plagiarized? They've just put their own little twist and uniqueness to the song. And it's a great opening track. Great way to start off the album.
Zeppelin's known for these offbeat tracks, that are a little different. You think about Out on the Tiles on Led Zeppelin 3. Obviously, there's 4 Sticks, and the way Misty Mountain Hop is kind of arranged too on Led Zeppelin 4. In Celebration Day is another one that I think of that has a little oddness to it in the way it's presented. This is no different, and I think it's a great way, as you guys both said, that it's a great way to open up the album. One thing that I do notice is when you talk about the pocket of John Bonham, I think there are a lot of great examples, and this is one of them. How any other drummer in rock and roll would play it as a straight beat.
Yep.
Whereas Bonham has this little tiny pause. Like he just waits on it, just a hair. And that's what makes it so unique and so memorable, is because it's got a different groove with the way he plays. And I don't think there's any other drummer. Like, people like to compare Dave Grohl to him and all these other drummers. That's the one difference with Bonham, is he's got that timing where he just, instead of hitting it right away, he just slows it down and then hits it, and Custard Pie really defines that. A great way to open up the album.
Custard Pie, written by Jimmy Page, Robert Plant. So it was recorded at Headley Grange in 1974. It's one of the 8 new songs. And they call those 8 new songs the Belters. Basically saying more hard rock kind of type of songs. It pays homage to Drop Down Mama by Sleepy John Estes, not to be confused with Sleepy Joe Biden. Shake 'Em On Down by Bucca White, and I Want Some of Your Pie by Blind Boy Fuller. Custard Pie Blues by Brownie McGee and Sonny Terry. I think Brownie McGee played second base for the Cardinals in the 80s.
And Terry?
Center field.
Yeah, exactly. Along with Handsome Willie McGee. Oh, look like a salamander. Page is playing that wah-wah solo shit through the synth. There's a clavinet, which is, I don't know how many times it's featured on this album.
Oh, yeah.
JPJ playing. And obviously that pretty cool harmonica solo by Plant. I guess they only played this song at Jason Bottom's wedding reception in 1990.
How random.
That fucked up?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I guess they played in some rehearsals in 1975, which is amazing. Like, Zeppelin's the only band that I can think of that's, like, so big, so great that people are like, yeah, they played it at a sound check on April 14th in 1978. Like, like people memorize this shit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it's just something so, like, random, but it's a big thing. Plant called the song Unfinished. He thinks that there's a couple of songs like that in the catalog, and he thinks that this is one of them. I don't know what he wanted to finish or change, but yeah. And they say it's kind of a return to the blues after the prog of Houses of the Holy, and they credit Ron Don't Call Me Crazy Nights. That was his album, wasn't it?
Yes.
For the sound of the song. Plant is actually recovering from surgery.
Yep.
And having done, I can't believe I'm going to compare this.
Do it.
The Gene Simmons Vault.
Yeah.
This is that song, Juliet. They completely
totally
ripped this off.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's exactly that. Yep.
It's pretty cool because on one side of if you have like AirPods on and things like that, you hear the guitar. The others, you hear the bass and the clavinet.
Yep.
And you know, the phrase in the song, Shake 'Em On Down, that's a kind of a tip of the hat to hats off to Roy Harper from Zeppelin 3. And I just love the tone of this solo, the guitar solo. It's got that awesome kind of like sharp tone to it. I didn't understand what he was saying. And I mean, I don't understand half the things Robert Plant says until I actually read the lyrics on these album reviews for Zeppelin. I didn't get that he was saying, chew on a piece of your custard pie.
Yep.
Right? Did anybody know that?
Yeah.
Like before, like having lyrics and reading them?
I think until I checked the lyrics, I don't think I thought that's what he said.
Exactly.
In preparation for this album, my understanding of the lyrics for many songs was way off basis.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea.
Wait till we get to In the Evening and In Through the Outdoor.
Oh my God. Fucking Eddie Vedder's makes him fucking sound like he speaks clearly. I do love that harmonica solo, but Zeppelin, I didn't notice it as much until this album. It's a fucking long-ass outro.
Dude.
A lot of these songs are long-ass outros.
Get ready to say that a few times.
Yes, right? And you're
they even admit, the band even admits they don't they had trouble ending songs. There's a couple songs where like, we didn't know how to end it.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, yep. There's a minute and 30 left. You're like,
it just keeps going.
Didn't I just hear the volume go down on the song? You go down for another minute and 30? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Having loved custard for pretty much my whole life.
Of course you did. And your porridge soup.
And every time I have a Boston cream with the custard in it.
Oh, God.
I always hum the song as I'm about to open up and chow down on some custard.
While you're listening to your old-timey music.
Honey, put on Physical Graffiti on the Victrola.
I never knew custard was old people food. Come on, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's for people that don't have teeth. It's like soft. They don't have to get
exactly. That's a nursing home, Jay.
It's like Jello and pudding.
Excuse me, nurse. Is it custard time?
I love it.
I'm sorry, Jay. You're gonna have to wait.
Oh man, you like that scene? Ever see that Eddie Murphy movie Life? Love that.
God,
they're in the old, and they're in the old folks' home. It's like, okay, time for Jello.
Oh, God.
All right, let's go to the next track.
The Rover. And Zeus kind of brought up something interesting about college, about discovering songs like this. So it's funny, this song was originally, if you can believe it, was recorded as an acoustic song for Led Zeppelin 3, which I don't know how that's possible. This is just, there are so many songs on this album where you like, how is this not like a staple of radio? How did it take me until I got to the box set or the college to hear the Rover? I mean, one of the things that Zeppelin does probably better than anybody else is they're heavy, but there's that groove, there's that melody, kind of like Jay said, the way Bonham is kind of controlling that pocket and giving you a groove there. There's no real chorus per se, like Zeppelin is famous for kind of like sometimes not saying the title of the song, so that he doesn't say the Rover. It's a story about a rover. But killer solo, just an incredible riff, and that main riff. There are so many of them on this album, and that's the thing that I love about this album. We're only on song 2, but just an absolute killer song, and it's one of those songs that you don't hear. There's really no fatigue from it because it's not. You don't really hear it too much. I mean, if you have satellite radio, you might hear it once in a while, but it should be a go-to track, and it's unfortunately it's not in terms of radio play and popularity. But the Rover just crushes it for me.
So, Tommy, similar to you, discovered this in college. I remember vividly the first time hearing it and the beginning of the song. It was, what the hell is this? And probably was playing Super Tecmo Bowl, but the song just stopped what I was doing, listened to it. This is why I was saying I kind of pictured this being more of a Page album, because just the guitar sound on this is.
I wouldn't argue with that.
It's just incredible. The lyrics, yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals where the sound of this song far outweighs the lyrics. I think Plant sounds great, but the lyrics, it gets into his traveling, and you're sitting there going, all right, is this like Tolkien or is this just his own experiences? But this was, from the moment I heard it, one of my favorites.
An absolute classic. It's similar to When the Levee Breaks on Zeppelin 4 in that back when we were growing up, when I was growing up, When the Levee Breaks was considered a deep cut. The Rover is considered a deep cut. But as Zeppelin has maintained its popularity and grown their audience even more than it was while they were around, the Rover has become more part of the recognizable songs for people to hear. More people know about the Rover now than they did probably back when we were younger, or back when probably the album came out. It's got a great blues groove. It's got everything you need in a Zeppelin blues track. It's a song they really didn't play live a lot. The whole song they didn't play live. I think they only did it a handful of times. They did use it as the intro for Sick Again. So they played the first few bars of the Rover and then went into Sick Again during their live shows. But just an absolute classic. I never get tired of hearing this song. And that slide guitar, man, is just undeniable.
So the Rover, written by Page and Plant. I love that this was on Zeppelin 3. Oh, man, if this ended up being there instead of like Hats Off for Roy Harper, oh my God, Zeppelin 3 would move up on everybody's list. Again, this is just one of those songs when you discover it, you're like, how? I know all these brilliant songs by them. There's another one? What the fuck? The guitar is just out of this world. It's such a great riff. They began recording this in 1970, then 72 they began writing it basically as the acoustic for Zeppelin 3, and then they started doing it for Houses of the Holy. And then Page in 72, and then Page added the overdubs in 74 and basically came on to Physical Graffiti. So many bands have been influenced by this fucking song they talk about. Yep. And it's such a huge thing, especially the bands in the 80s and in the 90s. They never played this live in its entirety. The liner notes tells the story of the guitar loss courtesy of Nevison, salvaged by the grace of Hardwood. So Nevison denies this.
Yep.
I guess he says that the fucking other guys engineering this blamed him because he wasn't there. But he went through the facts and basically described, like, I couldn't have lost Jimmy's solo on this because blah, 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 I wasn't there or I wasn't there.
Right.
So it's obvious it wasn't me. But they took it as somehow somebody fucking saved the day by finding Jimmy's solo on this because it was lost. And it became like a funny thing, and they put it in the liner notes. The Rover's considered supposed to be like a wanderer, and people have been guessing, oh, is he talking about Jesus? I just love the drum opening, then the sleazy guitar. Oh, my God. And I love the lyric, I know to trip is just to fall.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that is he taking kind of a shot at like the fucking hippie cultures and things like that. And then the pre-chorus, it fucking moves me. I can't describe, like, when something in a song, when he goes, there can be no denying,
love it.
Right? It's just it takes it to a whole fucking new level for me. Just so awesome. And then the melodic solo, and the 5 times he says, if we could just join hands. Just, and then another fucking forever outro.
No, there's another song that doesn't end.
Yeah. I can't describe its brilliance because it's a straightforward rock song with just a sleazy riff, great lyrics, great vocal delivery, just melodic as all fuck. To me, I look at this as like the lost brilliant song. This is to most people what everybody talks about Zeppelin, Zepp freaks and shit like that will mention this song, I think, in the same way Kiss fans say Mr. Speed.
Mr. Speed.
It's become such a, like, everybody knows that song's the best deep cut they have, right? It's like an inside thing. Oh, the Rover, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's a deep cut. It's not a classic rock staple. And, classic rock, I would listen to it, but I never was a radio guy. Maybe it's because the ADHD is off the charts. I can't listen to fucking commercials. But I was never a real big radio person. So a lot of these songs are songs that I didn't hear other people playing. I just discovered them on my own. And when someone discovers the Rover, like, I hope there are some listeners that do actually tell us that, like, wow, I just love you guys fucking babbling about stupid shit. And I really don't know the music. And then they listen to this, are going to be like, what the fuck? Where has this been my whole life? The song is that brilliant, in my opinion.
Yep. I do believe they did play this a few times live. And because I think they did play it at a historic Chicago Stadium show, because Page had a hand injury during one of their tours. I forget what year it was. And they played When the Levee Breaks, and I think they did the Rover like 2 or 3 times during that period. So I'd have to look that up. I'm almost certain, though, they played it a few times.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. All right, time to die.
In My Time of Dying. So, speaking of brilliance and speaking of, in my opinion, everything that Led Zeppelin stands for, everything that they do that is great, everything that makes them legends, gods, whatever word you want to describe. This song is 11 minutes long, and if somebody said to me, I've never heard Led Zeppelin, what do they sound like? I would say sit down, put on In My Time of Dying, and after 11 minutes, you will not be the same person you were before you heard this song. This song, it's the longest song they've ever recorded. It's one of the longest songs, like, ever. That's not like a jam session type of song. This is everything I love about this band, and this is everything I love about John Bonham. When the song starts off, it's that bluesy, it's based on a traditional song that Bob Dylan recorded on his debut album. It's got that slide guitar. Plant comes in, and you're like, what's going on? How is this song 11 minutes long? Where is this going to go? And then when that stop part comes in, and then Bonham just crashes through the doors and just takes over the song. His drum fills, his drum patterns, his fills, everything that he is doing on this is absolutely just, it melts my brain every time I hear it. And the thing that I think is so brilliant about this song is, for me, even though it's 11 minutes long, I never feel like it's 11 minutes long because it's doing so many different things. It's blues, it's metal, it's hard rock, it's melody, then it's back to blues. There's so many different things about this song, all in one. And this is one of the songs where I know that Zeppelin, as much as they loved it, they kind of lost their way about wrapping it up, which is kind of like the outro, just kind of, it's just the band, just almost like a jam session, and Bonham just killing the drum kit. Bonham worked out where a lot of the start and stop sections were going to be, and when the band would come back and come in. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this song other than it's just fucking pure brilliance. It's Zeppelin to a T, in my opinion. And it's 11 minutes long, which makes it even more brilliant.
Everything you said, Tom, I agree. Wrap it up in 7.
Oh, really?
I found it. I understand that it was of the time.
Yeah.
This was in their catalog. 7-minute songs, 8-minute songs. But as you said, they just had trouble wrapping it up.
Yeah.
The pockets of this song are, like you said, this is Led Zeppelin. The first 2 minutes of how it kind of kicks in, slowly builds up at around the 6-minute mark where Page and Bonham are just kind of going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
And the lyrics were unlike anything that had come up. I mean, talked about earlier, just the fantasy and warlocks and all that stuff that Plant had previously referenced, and he's actually talking about Jesus. I mean, Zeus, it was interesting you just mentioned on the last song about the wandering with Jesus, and this is where I had, he just keeps on referencing it, and once again made reference to it a short time ago. I thought he was saying all my cheating, and I guess it's oh my Jesus.
Yes, oh my, yep.
So that just, I'm nodding along and mouthing the wrong words for the last 30 years.
Oh, my Cheetos. Oh, my Cheetos. That's exactly what I was thinking all these time. Like, what is he saying?
Yep.
Why isn't this song a Cheetos commercial? This could make millions. As far as what Murph just said, wrap it up in 7. Dude, you cannot put a limit on greatness. Okay? I mean, come on.
Actually, you can. We'll get to that later on in the album, but go ahead.
This song is slowly building from the first note as it kind of builds up, and it's building that momentum. And even when the slow parts, you feel that tension rising, that something's about to break, something's about to come out. And when you parallel Plant and Bonham with the way they're pushing the song, with Bonham's, what Tom said, with the fills and the way he's playing and the hops and the skips and all that stuff, it's just amazing drum work. But then you've got Plant also with his voice becoming more grandiose, becoming more going for the notes, going for what he needs to do with the song. And you've got Page just sitting there with the slide and playing and just doing his thing. When I first heard this song, I remember the first time listening, I'm like, dude, how am I going to get through 11 minutes of a freaking song? And it starts out, you're like, oh my God, this is slow, but how it begins is not how it ends. And there's like 3 or 4 different songs in one song. And what I really appreciate about it is just the build throughout the whole thing. And then there's a moment where it just kind of eases in to where it needs to be, and it takes it out for the rest of the song. It's like all this tension, all this build up, and then it takes the breath, and it just becomes what it is. It's just a magical song, a magical arrangement, one of Zeppelin's best ever.
Yeah.
Murph, come on with his little comments.
Don't worry, there's more where that came from.
In My Time of Dying, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Bonham, and Blind Willie Johnson.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I'm Blind Willie Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Jesus, Jay.
But Blind Willie Johnson is 2 dick names in there. All right.
Dick.
Like Dick Trickle, the blues.
Long Dong Silver. What was that fucking Clarence Thomas guy?
Great
there?
porn name.
Yeah. In My Time of Dying, 11 minutes. Don't feel it. Sorry, Murph. I don't feel it.
Nope.
Based on the traditional song, as you said. Dylan made it the traditional song when he debuted in 1962, but it wasn't originally called that. It was recorded live with Page adding the slide guitar overdubs. You mentioned how Bonham's brilliance, like stops and starts, he came up with all this stuff. And then we'll get to the final part of that song where the ad-lib with the cough and Bonham coughs in there. And that's going to be the last one, hasn't it? And then Nevison replies. Yeah, Ron Nevison is on a fucking Zeppelin album. And then he goes and records fucking My Way for Kiss.
Hey, how dare you?
Yeah.
I'm more mad of I'll Fight Hell to Hold You.
No, that's worse.
Horrendous song. It's once again one of the new songs for PG, but they recorded an old blues classic, as Zeppelin does, and just makes it Zeppelin. After Robert's 75 crash, you hear that Robert is spooked to play this again. He doesn't want to touch it.
Yep.
Which is like, devil worshippers,
mystical.
The curse, they sold their soul down by the crossroads. Did you know that I read this fucking monstrosity Kiss Zeppelin book?
Yeah.
Remember when Popoff saw this? He's like, "Oh, you got the Frenchies book."
Yeah.
He's like, they don't leave anything unturned.
No, they don't.
Led Zeppelin, all the songs, the story behind every track by Jean-Michel Gedson and Felipe Margaton.
That book is insane.
Oh my God, the facts they pull on this.
Yep.
But anyways, I guess this was Cornell's last song performed in May 17, 2017. He incorporated the lyrics into Slave and Bulldozers, and that was the last song he played, and then he died.
Yeah.
I think the guitar riff when he starts off and stuff is almost no, the beginning.
Oh, the beginning. The slide guitar, yeah.
It's a little bit of the Rover slowed down, it almost seems like.
Yeah.
That drum that comes in after the beginning.
Insane. The fucking
best. Well. I got a story for you. Shit-faced, hanging out with my cousin in Michigan when I was in high school. Passed out in his car. And my cousin thought it'd be funny to play In My Time of Dying and wait till the drums came in, and he fucking yanked up the radio.
Blasted.
It scared the fuck out of me. Woke me up. It was shit-faced off of wine coolers in high school.
Emos or wine coolers?
No, those were wine coolers back then because it was like freshman or sophomore year, and I didn't like beer. So I'm like, I could drink a wine cooler. It was fucking
Bartles and
so you had a vagina in high school.
Yes. Purple Passion, I think I was pounding then. But the drums on this fucking song, and the sleazy guitar. It's so epic. Like, this is what fucking... I'll get to this. And then there's the first guitar solo. If you notice, the tone completely changes. It's almost like they brought another guitarist in. Playing something completely different with a different tone. And then there's a second guitar solo, and the same thing happens. All of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute, is that Jimmy Page? I feel like you're listening to Iron Maiden where you can hear the two guys battling each other on solos. Just Bonzo's drumming on this is insane. And then I mentioned the, oh, my Jesus. Yeah. Oh, my Jesus. And then he says something like,
Buddha and American.
Yeah. Then I'll touch Jesus. I never understood what the fuck he was saying in the song. But this is song 3. We haven't stopped talking about brilliance. And I feel like I'm going to be saying this. This is song 15. We haven't stopped. It is so over the top how incredible this shit is that In My Time of Dying is just another Zeppelin track. Yeah. Where it would be the greatest thing any other fucking band would do. And it's song 35 for Zeppelin. It's just, it's hard to to appreciate how brilliant this band is when this is like, oh yeah, In My Time of Dying. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that brilliant piece of music. 11 minutes, only they could pull it off. And I love the different parts. It's almost like prog rock, fucking 15 different things that are happening in the song. Amazing, amazing song. Any final thoughts?
Wrap it up in 7.
No.
Famous last words.
Murph needs to be in Zeppelin Chronicles timeout.
Well, don't worry. Just wait, Jay.
See, there is no long. I mean, the outro and stuff, but there's so much happening on this one. It's different than the same kind of song and riff, and you're just ending it, and it's just fucking taking a minute and 30, and you're playing the same shit. This one is different. You don't feel it. At least I don't.
You could just say all my Cheetos 3 times instead of
there you go.
All my Cheetos.
When they released it as a single, All My Cheeses, they had like Gouda and pepper jack.
Oh, Jesus, here we go. God, Jay.
Dad humor.
Exactly. Welcome to Dad Joke Zeppelin.
All right, let's go to the next track.
Houses of the Holy. So we flipped to side 2 here. And I remember, like, when I was younger and discovering the discography, I'm like, why is this not on Houses of the Holy? Well, they left it off because it was too similar to other tracks such as Dancing Days and The Ocean, and they felt that Dancing Days and those songs were better than Houses of the Holy. It required no dubbing, no mixing. They just threw it on Physical Graffiti. It's definitely a gear shift from what we've heard so far. Definitely more poppy, radio friendly, more accessible Zeppelin. People who might not be Zeppelin fans would like Houses of the Holy. But Zeppelin snobs like us are like, that's just boring radio Zeppelin. It's a good song. I will say this. If this was left off because of Dancing Days, I prefer Dancing Days, although House of the Holy it's a good song. It's not great, but like Zeus mentioned, it's fucking Zeppelin on Physical Graffiti. I mean, the worst song on Physical Graffiti is any other band's like best song, pretty much. So yeah, I think like I said, you flip the album, and this is the first song on side 2, and it's a little bit different. It's more back to basic blues based rock, and it's a good song. It's a little bit of a pop song, I guess, per se for Zeppelin.
One of my all time favorites.
Of course it is.
All time favorite.
Of course it is. Vanilla Murph.
It's a fun song. It's unlike a lot, even if it was on the last album, I still don't think it's a standout. It could have been a massive single for them if they published it, because this would have crossed over. Yeah. But once again, they didn't give a shit. They were going to do what they had always done. Nothing was ever going to get produced and put out there for mass consumption. You had to go find it. I think one of the reasons why this one resonates so much, this song is actually, there are home videos of my son when he's about 1.5 years, and we were doing a little parade around the house. This song was playing. He loved this song.
Wow. Okay.
So it is possible this song has been played more than any other in my, in my time
of dying.
Wrap it up, Tom.
Yeah. And so I think this is always going to be very high for me with just the personal connection. This is a song that Zeppelin, I can remember introducing Zeppelin, and there's video evidence of, even though my kids' music tastes have changed, I'm like, nope, you liked it. See? Here, you're walking around with your Elmo saxophone. And once again, they put a little cowbell in there. Anytime you have cowbell, you can't go wrong.
Fair. Good point. Fair.
I've got a love-hate relationship with this song. It's a good song. It's not that it's not that I despise it or whatever, but when you hear things like The Rover and all the other stuff on this album and what Zeppelin's catalog is about, I have trouble staying interested in it. Because it really is just a mainstream rock song. I mean, it is. I mean, it's like you said, Tom, like if some band had this song in their catalog, it'd be like in their top 5 songs of all time. It's a good song. I do enjoy it from time to time, but it doesn't move the needle for me at all. It's a song they played live, I think, on this tour, or I think they did this on the House of the Holy tour, actually. Out of all the songs on this album, this is kind of, to me, probably the most uninteresting song. It's probably the most boring song that I think is on the album.
I think to me, just real quick before Zeus takes over, I just think it's a basic song, and I think because we're so used to Zeppelin just like doing such expansive things like In My Time of Dying or Kashmir or In the Light, whatever, that like this song just it kind of gets buried, and I feel like we're saying that it's like a bad song, and it's not. It's just it's just like a standard rock song, and for us, like that's Zeppelin could do. They could do this in their sleep, but it's not a bad song.
Like if this song was on like Presence, I think you'd have a completely different view of it than you do with it being on Physical Graffiti. Physical Graffiti is chapter and chapter of greatness throughout.
Yeah, the song gets swallowed up on this album.
Right. I think you underappreciate it because of that, and it becomes boring almost to me.
Yeah.
Well, Houses of the Holy was written by Page and Plant for Houses of the Holy, but as Tom, you said, I don't think it sounds like somebody would pick up, it's probably the sister song of Dancing Days, but they have a lot of tracks that are kind of like, that sounds like that sped up. That sounds like this slowed down.
It's just like verse, chorus, verse, guitar. So it's just like standard Zeppelin, I think.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's that similar that, you can't have those two together.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Nothing big, but again, they have some great rock songs. I know it gets penalized for not being like, that's the one with the Bonzo drum breakdown. Oh, that's the one with Jimmy's solo. Or that's the one with the lyrics about it's kind of a good, cool song. Right. And because it is, and all the like crazy accolades a lot of these other songs get, this one gets forgetting. It was never played live. Nope. So I'm reading this shit, and when I say this stuff, it's not because I thought of it, Jay.
No, I know that.
Look this shit up. You doubt me every time I say this stuff. But he didn't. They never played it live. I don't know why they would, because it's kind of almost like a throwaway for them. But anyways, and it's about supposedly the band's fans and their relationship with the fans. Like they're on the stage, and the stage is the Houses of the Holy. That's what supposedly it's about. Recorded as a title track in 1972. Didn't think it fit. Didn't require any overdubbing or anything. Basically, they just can put it back out. At the 2:25 mark, Robert goes higher in his voice and starts rocking more.
Yeah, that's
cool. It's a cool little dirty guitar solo towards the end, which becomes an outro. But I love the part where he starts doing it in the band. If you listen, It's almost like backing vocals. You never hear Zeppelin with backing vocals. They start going, ooh, 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 ooh.
I actually like that.
Stones. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Symphony for the Devil. Yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun song with a cool riff, and I love the cowbell. And then even in the part where it says, let the music be your master, there's doubling of the vocals where Robert's harmonizing with himself. Fantastic song. It's fucking cool as hell. I think it's so melodic and it works. I just, we've already, I don't want to repeat myself. We've already talked about it. It just gets forgotten because it doesn't have anything specifically unique. Just a good song. So, All right, let's go to the next track.
Trampled Underfoot. So the song went through a bunch of different arrangements because the band was kind of fighting about the style. Bonham thought that the track was a little too soul. They turned it into a funk style. John Paul Jones kind of like got some inspiration from Superstitious by Stevie Wonder with that funk groove. So here's the problem with this song. Yeah, I know. There's a problem with this song. It doesn't go anywhere. There's a breakdown in the middle of it, but it's the exact same beat, rhythm, and riff for the entire song. I'm so spoiled by Zeppelin doing things and having a pre-chorus, a breakdown, and out like this song. It's like the same thing. Now there's like that solo, kind of like that keyboard kind of solo thing, but it's a very repetitive groove that really just doesn't progress. And I love the groove. It's funky. It's different. Again, John Paul Jones is playing his ass off in this thing. Of course, Bonham crushing it. Plant sounds great, but it's like until you get to like that little da 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 da. Like there's really just nothing going on here, and it's like the same song. And the thing is, it's a 5.5 minute song that because I'm so spoiled by Zeppelin. I just feel like something should have changed in the middle of that 5.5 minutes, and I feel like it's the same exact thing for the entire time. And that kind of loses points for me.
Don't worry, Jay. I'm not going to say make it 4 minutes. Actually, it's funny you mentioned with JPJ. This is the first song on the album where it's almost, hey, remember me? I'm one of the greatest bassists and fillers and jam session musicians of all time. Very distinct sound. Now that you mentioned Superstition, I'm not going to get that out of my head. The lyrics, very, very suggestive. Kind of a dirty song, but it's obviously gotten a lot of play on classic radio over the years. Solid song. I wouldn't put it as a great song. But, it's still never going to be a disappointment or anything I'm ever going to skip.
I love the vocals, Plant's vocals on this. I just think he really shines with that grovel, that tone in his voice. Sounds like he's got like this, almost sounds like he's got like something going on with like a scratchy throat, but he just nails it. And I love the funky groove with it too as well. I think it's a song that over the years has kind of eroded in its popularity because of the songs that they've done. But this song is actually about a car. And the lyrics are not Dirty Murph, your mind needs to get out of the gutter. It's actually about a classic car, a vehicle. So that's kind of why you have those, what you think are innuendos, but they're not. But I like...
Why would you think that's a thing? With all of their lyrics on all the other songs, that this would be... Oh, they're just using a car to describe a woman. Little red Corvette, per se.
Well, they're
dude. It's fucking definitely about women. It's the whole metaphor about women in cars, Chuck Berry shit, Maybelline, all this stuff. Yeah. What are you talking about?
But it's about a car. It is. It's a car.
You think Little Red Corvette is about a Corvette?
No, I'm not talking about someone else's song. I'm talking like this song's about a car. Look it up.
Maybe if the song was 8 minutes long,
what are you
we'd know.
talking about?
There is no more sex band on the world than Zeppelin.
All right.
Dude, the song is a metaphor about women and sex. It's all over every book you'll ever read that this song is, they're talking about lyrics and doing a double analogy of women in cars.
Yeah,
they're describing women.
Right. They use car parts as metaphors.
Mama, let me pump your gas? Is he really saying, hey, over here at the Exxon station here?
Full service. It's not self-service.
Fuck, dude.
Let me change your oil, honey.
Yes. Let me put my dipstick in your.
Here we go.
Dipshit. More like it.
No, it's talked about a car, but uses the metaphors. The metaphors can be taken as sex.
Okay.
Well, so much. It's more about like you don't even have to say sex. It's like women parts.
Yeah.
And he's talking about that. But anyways, Trampled Underfoot, written by Jones, Page and Plant. It was actually the only single. It went to number 38 on the Billboard.
That's insane.
Yeah. Of all the songs, this is the only single. It's inspired by Robert Johnson's Terraplane Blues, which was a car back then, and Billy Preston's Outer Space. Metaphors for sex and women. Came from a jam in 72. JPJ credits Superstitions and plays the clavinet on it. It's fucking a great version, a different kind of like thing of the Superstition fucking riff, that keyboard riff that Stevie Wonder does. The song was originally called Brandy and Coke.
Yes.
There's a limited edition of 5,000 copies for this song for British record stores. And I guess it's a huge collector's item to get it. The clavinet solo, which is different. I play the clavinet in a band, baby.
Ooh, you're so hot and cool.
Yeah. Also, this song may have the most verses of any Zeppelin song of all.
There's a lot of singing in it. There's a lot of lyrics in this.
There are 9 verses.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah. There's a lot of talking.
Yeah. I just think this is so funky. And by the way, if anybody didn't know, he's talking about love.
Yes, I know. Talk about love. Yeah.
Talk about
he
love.
says it 700
about
times.
love.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm talking about love. Okay.
And Halen didn't talk about love.
I was just going to say, maybe that's why Van Halen wrote a song called Ain't Talking About Love.
Yeah. Or So This Is Love. Or Love Beat from Kiss.
Well, that came up before this.
It's another long fucking outro on this as well. I find this to be what the grunge couldn't be. It's a way better version of funk, and like this shit is a way better grunge. I like it. I think this is the problem. You got the fucking rock blues Custard Pie, the incredible riffs of the Rover. In My Time of Dying is all this fucking amazing, like different gospel blues shit. You got Trampled Underfoot with funk and all this stuff, and you got Houses of the Holy.
Oh.
Right?
I don't think Houses of the Holy gets penalized. It's just a
but that's the point. It's like, think about how many different things that we mentioned on these other songs.
Right.
The point is like House of the Holy is just a straight rock song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas the others are like blues.
Yeah, which is why it stands out as something a little bit different almost. Because the next song is going to fucking like change everything. And I think Jay's been jerking off for 1 year waiting to get to this song.
Oh, somebody has to.
What? Oh, yeah. There's strong opinions on this one. Here we go. The next track.
Kashmir.
Oh, fuck yourself.
So, yeah, remember how I mentioned Trampled Underfoot goes nowhere? Yeah. Kashmir goes nowhere. Okay? So, let's just, let me just say this. The song is 8.5 minutes long. I have obviously no problem with long songs because I just said In My Time of Dying is spectacular.
Should be longer.
This song doesn't fucking go anywhere. You need to do something different. Give me an interlude that speeds up. Give me some kind of a break. Because the main riff and the main vibe of this song is fucking incredible. It's epic, it's legendary, and Zeppelin deserves all the accolades for it. But it's 8.5 minutes of the exact same thing. And I don't know if maybe that's what Page wanted, but to me, that's always been the negative with this song. And I don't mind long songs. I love long songs by Metallica and Rush and Zeppelin. I just feel like this song, if you're going to be 8.5 minutes long, you got to do something a little bit different, and they don't. And I feel like that penalizes part of what's going on with the song. But one thing I do want to say, besides my opinion on the song, I do want to bring up real quickly before we pass off to Murph, the story about Fast Times at Ridgemont High with the song. Because we all grew up watching Fast Times, and we all grew up saying, Rat's got to play side 2 of Led Zeppelin 4. He gets in the car, and they're playing Kashmir, and everyone's like, what the fuck? Rat's an idiot. So Cameron Crowe said this. He said, I feel like the big one that people still never get to the bottom of is why did we play Kashmir when it's supposed to be Led Zeppelin 4? He says, the story was nobody was sure we were going to get any of Led Zeppelin's music to use because basically they hadn't given it to anybody at the time that the movie was made. But because I had written for them for Rolling Stone, Cameron Crowe wrote for Rolling Stone, he had a good relationship with the band and Rolling Stone and wrote liner notes. All we had to do was throw a Hail Mary and ask. He says, I was shocked when it came back with a yes. But the stipulation was that because of some publishing agreement, it had to be something from Physical Graffiti onward. They wouldn't let them use anything prior from the Physical Graffiti album. So it said, okay, we have Kashmir, let's use Kashmir. But the book and the original script had Led Zeppelin 4. So he said, the thing that made me really laugh was that Rat gets it wrong. He doesn't have the right Led Zeppelin album. Little did I know that this would confound everybody, but it's Rat. He's having a bad night. So the way he looked at it is, let's turn this into kind of like a positive, being that Rat is such a dork that he doesn't know Led Zeppelin 4, so let's play Kashmir. But there actually is a story about why, and I think that's a great story because I remember for years, pre-internet, we're like, why is he playing Kashmir? But anyways, Jay, calm down. Murph's going to be next, so it's probably going to get worse. Good song, too long. You got to do something different for me. Murph.
So this is for me, Kashmir with Zeppelin is like for Zeus, Shandy, and Kiss.
Oh, that's even stronger. Wow. Oh.
Never liked this song. I know I'm supposed to like this song.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is where I will make the Family Guy reference. This song insists upon itself.
Yes,
I'm supposed to like it.
Just like that Godfather clip
I'm
from Family Guy.
supposed to like it.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what I'm supposed to like.
Yep.
This song is okay, but because of it being shoved down my throat, and then to take it another step further, they used this riff in the Godzilla movie that was that bomb in 1998.
That me and you saw in the theaters?
Yes. That Jimmy Page did with Diddy. How's that going for you?
Oof.
But where you
Jay has his hat pulled all the way down back right now.
They're both like 12-year-olds. One likes them as girls and one likes them as boys.
Oh,
and Jay, but I am thinking now, when you said the first time you heard this album was in the backseat of the car, were you with Rat on the way back from their date? And that's why you like this song so much. So tell us, why should I like Kashmir?
Uh-oh.
This song is the best song in Led Zeppelin's catalog.
Oh, my God. That is one of the worst takes in the history of takes.
It is not. It is not. It is fact. Because this song, Kashmir, the song about a journey in life, okay? And let me take you there, right? That's what he used to say prior to most of the times he did it live, or the band did it live. And this song is just a genius that shows restraint, that shows why Zeppelin can be very excessive in a lot of their other songs, but the fact that they showed restraint is also excessive in itself, because it keeps this beat going, this driving beat. Bonham's drums are magnificent on this. He carries the song. And the song is not the same throughout. There are breaks, plenty of breaks throughout the song. There is plenty of differences as the song travels on and journeys forward. It adds in new different elements throughout the whole song. Plant's vocals at the 4:15 mark is probably one of the best moments in Plant's career, where he carries the note into a breakdown, which is just the way it's set up and the way it's arranged is phenomenal. This song is one of their most popular songs, but that's not why it's great. It hasn't been shoved down people's throats. People just recognize greatness when they hear it, or most people do.
Now, there's a rumor that when the Marines drove out Manuel Noriega, when they played that loud music,
no, it's not. It was Metallica. It was Metallica. So I look at it as, just for me, like it incorporated their Middle Eastern arrangements and rhythms that they had been studying in Morocco prior to this, right? And for Zeppelin to incorporate that makes it interesting in itself, that they use like this different type of music and different types of arrangements in this song. But the song is just a powerful moment in music history. And without this song on this album, this album does not reach the heights that it is.
I agree with that.
This is the cornerstone song on the album. This is their best song they ever did in their whole career. It is a genius, top of the line. Zeppelin at its peak is Kashmir.
So Kashmir is written by John Bonham, Page, and Plant. It's one of the only two songs that was credited like that, the other one being Out of the Tiles. Recorded as a demo in 1973. As an instrumental, Jones then added the orchestration. Not about Kashmir, but Plant's Moroccan desert trip, and they're going to Kashmir. I think it's played live ever since it got released, and every tour and everything. And that fucking Godzilla Come With Me song. It's about as cheesy. It's like the Stones did hair metal for a period and did their hair like that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, gross. This is just some of the accolades they got. Okay? Classic Rock, top 50 classic rock songs of all time, number 20. Classic Rock UK, 10 best songs ever.
What?
Yeah. VH1, 100 greatest rock songs of all time, number 62. Rolling Stone, 500 greatest songs of all time, 141. And then that's in 2010. This is the shit I'll never understand. In 2021, it goes to 148. What songs are better than that after this? But Blender, 500 CDs you must own. Q, 110 songs you must own. VH1 greatest hard rock songs, number 21. You could go on and on and on and on and on and on and about how fucking the accolades for this fucking song. Just critically, it's one of their best critic songs, and very, I think, proggy a little bit.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Originally going to be called Driving to Kashmir. The song, basically, Page says, nothing sounds like Kashmir. Mm-hmm. That cymbal crash to start, I feel like that. It would be the great scene in like a Game of Thrones war scene.
Yeah,
it's like an impending doom that's coming.
Yep.
All of a sudden the trees are getting grown down, and something, or like the fucking Imperial Star Wars soldiers are coming in, or something. Like, it's just haunting. That
the problem riff. Is it lasts 8.5 minutes long.
Yeah, I get it.
Don't mess with greatness.
But then it does that little Egyptian magician behind it.
Yeah, that's why I don't get the notion that this song is the same from beginning to end. It's totally not. There's so many different variances within this song.
What I mean by that, I mean the repetitive droning main riff of the song. That's what I'm talking about.
It's so encompassing. It just dominates that riff.
It's not. Let me be clear. It's not. It's Murph does not like Kashmir. It's not that I don't like Kashmir. It's that I think it's too long. It doesn't go anywhere. And I will say something. We talk about this sometimes with Kiss or even other Zeppelin albums. I feel like I'm supposed to like this song, and if I don't, I'm not a Zeppelin fan.
All right, let me finish my thoughts first. They're a little song. So I actually wrote the opposite of what you said, Tom, though. Epic transition and changes in this song. Just epic.
Really, but
it is. Oh, you just,
dude. An epic transition is what "In My Time of Dying" does when the song completely shifts tempo, tone.
Yeah, but the difference between "In My Time of Dying" and "Kashmir" is is done seamlessly, right? "In My Time of Dying,"
it's you can pick it up. It's so.
But that's why an 11-minute song, it doesn't feel 11 minutes. This feels like an 8.5-minute song.
Yeah.
All right. So I will just say this: I love the song. As critically as it is, I don't even think I remember this song. I mean, even all the way probably past college, we never played this.
Never.
It was never a big song to us. It never was a big song. I didn't realize how big and popular it was till later on.
That's a great point. Me too.
Like, it was never one of those rock staples that I knew of, and I heard of Zeppelin. Oh, yeah, fucking rock and roll, Stairway to Heaven. It was never on my radar. Until now, Kashmir now is so, like, over the top revered.
Yep.
To me, because it is that much, and it's a great fucking song, it is by far, in my opinion, the most overrated Zeppelin song of all time.
Without a doubt. I totally agree with you. No, I totally agree with you.
And it's a great, brilliant song. You're right. The riff does go on and on and on, but it's a beautiful riff. What I don't understand is, like, I feel like it's more orchestral.
It
that
is.
riff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what Jimmy's doing on this guitar because I hear more of, like, the strings and shit than his guitar.
And I love that part of the song.
It's 1975. It was like, hey, John Williams has just finished recording this theme for Jaws. Come on over and do a little Kashmir.
Yeah, why not?
But it's a brilliant song. I get it. But, in the end, we listen to the music we like. So that saying that you have, I'm supposed to like it. So when you talk about music with everyone, oh, yeah, Kashmir is brilliant. Yeah, you're like, yeah, you recognize that. But when you're alone playing Zeppelin, I don't go to Kashmir.
Yeah,
I feel like I am, like, supposed to tell you how great Kashmir is. But when I'm alone, I'm playing fucking
40 other songs.
Yep. Yeah, that I prefer to listen to. But then again, you're like, so why is it that brilliant again? But you can see it, and you can see how it moves other people.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
I also think one of the things that we're forgetting is, Zeppelin gets trashed because of who they ripped off and the songs they ripped off and didn't give credit to and all that stuff. And Kashmir, in my opinion, up until this point, was probably their most unique composition.
That's fair.
And also, as a comeback to an argument, well, Zeppelin ripped off this, but yeah, Kashmir's not a ripoff. So they could do anything they wanted to, and I think that's what signifies this song is so grand. Is like they've got all these great blues-based songs and these rock and roll songs. In my opinion, the most overrated Zeppelin song is Black Dog.
But, you might be right on that too.
Yeah, and I just think the uniqueness, and I think like Zeus said, it's so daunting, and it's so like it really does, for me at least, take you to a different place when you listen to this song. It does not make you stand still. It does not keep you in wherever you're at. It has a different, no pun intended, presence to it than any other Zeppelin song.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably up until this point, I would say, obviously we haven't talked about the album Presence yet, but I think this song and Achilles' Last Stand are very similar in nature, where they take you beyond somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing that's annoying is this is a band that this is a song that the band tells you it's brilliant. You don't usually hear them. They kind of like usually poo-pooing
stroking their own ego on it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Kashmir. Like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, You don't see the brilliance of Bron-Yr-Aur Stomp like I do?
We'll get to it.
Well, no, Stomp we did, but the regular one we haven't.
Right.
All right. Let's flip this monstrosity over and go to disc 2 or side 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the Light. Now, I'm going to add insult to injury here, Jay. This song is 7 seconds longer than Kashmir and 7 times better than Kashmir. Okay? The intro to this song is you talk about a song that takes you somewhere. John Paul Jones is fucking brilliant here in this intro. The proggy, the moody, the keys, the haunting. It's almost like a sound of like doom or threats or what's happening here. And then Plant comes in with like that distorted, like almost like dream sequence style of vocals. And then the band kicks into gear. And then I really love how it's got a little bit of a breakdown when Plant is like, in the light. It's like the keys. It's like that weird keyboard.
How does that go again?
In the light below. And then and then like that, this to me, so this is why I love talking about Zeppelin, and especially this album. So Kashmir was supposed to it's so overrated. I feel like In the Light is so underrated, and I don't know if maybe because it's the next song after Kashmir, where people are like, I just heard an 8.5-minute epic, transcendent, mystical song. I don't need to hear another one right away. But for me, I think this is brilliant Zeppelin right here. And again, maybe it's because it's not something that you hear all the time and nobody really talks about it. But I've always loved. I thought In the Light's just killer.
I like this song. I wanted to love this song, and there's just little things about this particular track that just have me wanting more. So the opening, the intro, it to me feels like the proggy version of Your Time Is Gonna Come. That organ, that beginning.
Okay, yeah, with the keys, yeah.
But I find it a little annoying, the sound. I'm almost expecting a bagpipe to pop in there with that sound.
Yeah.
And then the trippy vocals at the beginning. I'm not really into it, but then the second half of the song of just where, as the song kicks in, I really actually love the lyrics to the song. And that's why I think if it had a different beat at the beginning, it probably would have pulled me in right away. But that guitar riff at around the 4:30 mark, that's from that point forward, it just, I'm in love with the track. I just feel like I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it.
That's fair.
Particular song.
Okay.
I find this song very interesting. Probably one of the most interesting songs they ever did. I don't think the very beginning of the song holds up well through time with the keyboards. I think it kind of sounds like a stormtrooper gun farting, basically.
Okay.
But I do love the song. I love the arrangement. I love the quirkiness of it. I love it where it goes because unlike Kashmir, where it's a constant flow with the arrangements, but it kind of centers around a riff. In the Light, you really don't know where it's going to go from one part to the next. Right? I mean, the changes in the Light are significant and not really seamless. I mean, they're pretty. They really do stand out. So I think it's a very interesting song. I think it's a great song. The only thing is that that beginning intro with whatever they're using, keyboards or whatever it is, I just think that part. When I hear it, I'm like, all right, let's get on with it. Come on, Okay. I think it's a little bit of self-indulgent on John Paul Jones's part.
So In the Light, written by Jones, Page, and Plant. Another one of these things weird. Intro parts of the song has Page playing the bow on the acoustic guitar. Pretty sick. Based on an earlier band composition called In the Morning and another version called Everybody Makes It Through. Page said this is his favorite track on Physical Graffiti.
Wow.
Martin Popoff, the great author and guest of this show and fellow Pantheon brother, calls this the creepiest song in the catalog.
Yeah.
And then there's the perception that this kind of gets moved into a little bit of In the Evening 4 years from now when that comes out on In Through the Outdoor. Zepp never played this live because John Paul Jones said he could never get the synth to sound that way live. I find it to be a better version of No Quarter.
Ooh. Another overrated Zeppelin song.
Oh, how dare you! That's the best song on Houses of the Holy.
That's very overrated.
Oh, that song's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like that beginning, like a whale crying.
Yeah.
And it almost like what Whale and Wasp on AIC's brilliant Jar of Flies was going for.
Yeah.
It's got so much complicated shit going on in that intro. When Robert comes in, that sounds like bathroom farts.
Yeah. You better fart in the. You want bubbles? You had to fart in the tub.
That's what.
And then a big brown shark came.
I love that 420 mark where the ding, 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 that keyboard kind
love
of
it.
Comes in. It's almost, and he does it again when he does the second part later on, when he goes, in the light, as Tom was singing.
Love it.
That little, like, I wouldn't call it bridge, but whenever he does there, it's almost like the sun just came out.
Yeah, dude,
And
I
like
have written in my notes here.
Shined.
I have written in my notes, it's a bright breakdown. It's bright. It's the
almost
tone.
like a sunny feeling. Here comes the sun again.
Yeah, the tone
There's a
completely
contrast
changes.
throughout the whole song, too, right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Again, this is what? In the Light? This would be every other band's like, oh, my God, did you see what they did on that song?
Right, it just gets buried on side 3.
It's over-the-top brilliance.
Yeah.
And it actually works for me. I think it's fucking fantastic. It's just, again, I'm just kind of like lost. And what am I going to say? They're all so brilliant, you know?
Yep.
But that's what I got. All right. Let's go to a little acoustic medley.
Bron-Yr-Aur, however you pronounce it, not to be confused with Bron-Yr Stomp.
Woo!
Yeah, so this will probably be the shortest amount of commentary I have on a song. It's a 2-minute acoustic bit. I think it's great. I love acoustic stuff. I love when Jimmy Page is doing it. Named after the cottage where he had made most of Zeppelin 3. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. A 2-minute little acoustic riff. Jimmy Page does these great. And, you know, I find it's a nice little, I guess, palate cleanser on the album when you kind of listen to it. Kind of clears your mind after Kashmir and In the Light, and you get this little one to kind of brighten your day for a few minutes, I think.
So when we get to the rankings, this will be probably alarmingly high for me, but the reason for it is that when all of my kids were infants, I made a cassette play mix for them that I would play when I put them to bed. That was my way of, as an infant, to influence them.
Nice.
And for my daughter, this was on the track. So this played every night.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I think it's simple. It just shows that of how beautiful a creator Page is, and that you can have an 11-minute song or an 8-minute song, but you can have as much influence on a listener with a 2-minute track with no vocals. And I think this is just something that is just a great piece of music, and makes me wonder if those that were fans. I always think of because it came out right when we were going into college. If for Lawful Carnal Knowledge, if 316 was kind of like a way of like, oh, Page can put a 2-minute song. I'm going to put a little quick acoustic track on there as well.
Nice reference.
This instrumental is just beautiful. It's calming. It is, he did this instrumental White Summer off the first album. Mm-hmm. And I've never really been able to get into that. I just kind of find it I find White Summer a bit clunky. But when Page plays acoustic, a lot of people give him grief because they say he's got a lot of slop, even though I think it's rock and roll. I think when he plays acoustic, I think he's so on. Like, he plays it. I don't know if there's a guitar player that's considered as great as Jimmy Page is that plays the acoustic as well as Jimmy Page does. Like, I don't think there's anyone. I mean, everyone, you talk about Eddie Van Halen, Clapton, all the greats, right? Primarily known for electric guitar. None of those guys are known as also being a master of acoustic.
Good point.
And I think this really spotlights that here for Jimmy Page.
All right. So, Bron-Yr-Aur, from Zeppelin 3 in 1970, after the Welsh Cottage, they did most of the tracks from Zeppelin 3. It's a folk instrumental. It's the band's shortest song. And then only Led Zeppelin has like a fucking small section that I read, like, well, wait a minute, it's not really the shortest song. Black Mountainside is really the shortest song. But when they transformed Black Mountainside to a CD, it's actually longer than it was on the album. So technically, it depends on what you think. I'm like, what the fuck am I reading?
Yep.
It's used as background music for Song Remains the Same as they're heading to MSG in the limo. It's also spelled differently than Bron-Y-Aur Stomp.
Yes.
Apparently, this is the correct way to do it. And Bron-Y-Aur Stomp is incorrect on Zeppelin 3. You can hear, I guess, Carmen Plants, his daughter, I think, is laughter in the background. And it is and this is what is like, oh my God. It's the last all acoustic track Zeppelin ever does.
That's insane.
Yeah. Again, a beautiful acoustic number. And I feel like there's a little Whale and Wasp vibe to this. I fucking love it. It's a beautiful little medley. You can pick with the best of them. And you're right. I think Jimmy can get away with doing acoustic stuff just as good as he can do electric. The problem that Jimmy gets, and I think it's right, is that after Zeppelin, there's nothing that people go to that say, oh, Jimmy Page did this.
Right.
And Zeppelin ended 40-something years ago. Like, there's nothing brilliant after. There's plenty of shit he could have done. In the 70s and 60s, Clapton was big, but he was still doing shit in the 80s and stuff that were pretty big, too. So I think that's why he gets penalized. But nice little number. Let's go to the next song.
Down by the Seaside. So this is definitely a song that has grown on me. This was definitely not a track that I would spend a lot of time with or go to on Physical Graffiti, but we talk about this whether we're doing...
Go to him.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Whether we're doing Zeppelin or Kiss or the ARC stuff, like when you kind of spend just an excessive amount of time on albums, you start to hear things differently, and I really found myself really, really, really enjoying Down by the Seaside. Especially when the song shifts gears for a minute and kind of gets a little bit aggressive and picks up its pace. Plant's vocals are like very like kind of peaceful, and the tone of it, you feel like you're down by the seaside. It paints that picture, that tone, and then when it kind of gets aggressive and kind of upbeat, it's almost like in a movie, like it's almost like the clouds rolled in for a few minutes, and then it comes back. And I think it's funny how John Paul Jones does not really like this song. But he sounds fucking great on it. I think the band sounds really great on this. And, we keep saying it, we're in whatever song we are in here, the 10th, the 9th song. Just this song's completely different than anything we've heard already on this album. And I mean, how many times can you just say that fucking Zeppelin's brilliant and there's so much more to get to. But yeah, it's not one of my favorites, but I will say this, I enjoy it more than I thought I would.
Did Led Zeppelin create yacht rock with this song?
Maybe. Perhaps.
I would say from this point forward for the songs, I don't remember ever hearing any song in college, in my 20s, and this is where, again, back to early on, you need to almost be a more mature listener to appreciate these songs. I think as they're getting, they've evolved, and these lyrics are just reflective, and I really, really appreciate this song. I like how it goes from the seaside, the city, the countryside. It's reflective, and so I don't know if it's just as life's evolved, if they're kind of looking at different phases in his life. I know Plant was writing extensively at this point, and on this particular album, I think his creativity is really on display, and in this particular song. And I think the song musically is more subdued, mature, and to your point, Tommy, I think I've learned to like this and appreciate this as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I will say this. When we did our show, when we did the Hook Rocks, you guys were on the very infant stages of the Hook Rocks. When Zeus mentioned how much he loved this song, I was like, what are you talking about? This song is freaking corny and stupid. And to be fair, I had not really listened to it after my first initial take on it. I only listened to it probably like 3-4 times. And then I'm like, all right, let me go back and revisit Down by the Seaside. And maybe, as Zeus just said, you grow and you evolve as a person, you mature as a person. I love this song. This song is great. I love the change it does. I love that, that melancholy type of beginning, and you're at, like you said, you're down by the seaside, and it's got so many different elements going on. Then it switches to this like rock song that just punches you in the gut. And I really appreciated that. So I will say thank you to Zeus for having me revisit this song after I felt disdain for your taste in music when you said how much you loved it. It's a pretty good song. So yeah, again, very unique. What this album is filled with uniqueness. I don't think there's another song in rock history that sounds like this, or it has any of these, it has a style like this. Same thing with a lot of these songs like Kashmir, In the Light. So, again, just a great tune, a very underrated song by Led Zeppelin.
Down by the Seaside, Page and Plant. So when I'm going to read the accolades of the song, many years ago, Jay invited us on to do Zeppelin deep cuts.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, oh, Down by the Seaside. And you're like, what the fuck is that? It sucks.
True story.
Yeah, yep. It's a Zeppelin 3 leftover, and it would fucking fit on there. Originally an acoustic little thing, then became electric, and was going to be on Zeppelin 4. But supposedly influenced by Neil Young and Down by the River. I don't hear it, but okay. Never performed live. Robert liked it so much that on Encomium, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Yep.
He does a version of that with Tori Amos in '95.
Yep.
You already mentioned
and that was probably one of the songs we skipped on that Encomium album.
Because I really want to hear Tori Amos sing Zeppelin.
Yeah, I like taking that album. I like taking an album and flinging the discs over a bridge.
There's some good versions there. A few, not many, but you were right about John Paul Jones saying he hates the song. Just love this, almost lazy, chill, breezy, that electric piano JPJ is doing. It reminds me of sitting on the dock of the bay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear that song and you hear the waves crashing in that dock of it, you picture yourself there.
Totally.
This, I picture Down by the Seaside.
Yep.
It puts me there. Just same with the way it is somebody walking through a country field or a meadow. The imagery is done so well that matches Robert's lyrics with the music that's going on. It's obvious that Robert was the fan of this song, and it talks about basically, I don't know, maybe his new love of nature and things like that, and then he compares it to in the city where it's fucking not the good part, and versus in the country. That 213 that picks up, it's almost like a whole new song with with, guitar and Robert going, ooh, and stuff. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me, maybe it's because of water and the seaside in a boat. It reminds me of the Willy Wonka scene when they go on the river, in the chocolate river, and then all of a sudden it comes real fast, and they see all the crazy images and all that shit. And then afterwards it soothes out, and they come out of the tunnel. That's what this song reminds me of, exactly that. The fucking easygoing stuff. And then it goes into this crazy little middle, and then it soothes back out into the water. It is a fucking imagery that's been planted in my head since I heard this song. I think it's a beautiful little number, and it's one of my favorite, and it's absolutely a deep cut. Nobody's I just listened to Down by the Seaside on WBCN.
Guys, we're having a Zepp party. Down by the Seaside will kick it off.
Yeah, exactly. It's a deep cut, and I've always loved it. And it's just something about being able to put the music with the lyrics and put you in a place. And it works. I think it works.
I think part of the reason why this album just has, over time, just become higher in the rankings is that it has a lot of these, what we refer to as deep cuts, but there's like 4 or 5 of them on here that are just unbelievable songs. And it's like, is it really a deep cut? Because it just, the more you listen to this album and the songs that are on here, that it's incredible that you have, oh, that's a deep cut, that's a deep cut. Then at what point is it just a great song?
It's so true. Yep.
Yeah. Let's go. 10 years from now.
10 years gone. Oh, boy. See, there are certain songs on this album where I don't know where to go because, like, this song is... So I was gushing about In My Time of Dying because I think it really is everything that Zeppelin does well. 10 Years Gone to me is another version of everything that Zeppelin does perfectly. It starts off so beautiful, so somber, so almost like sadly peaceful. And then it turns into this incredibly epic and sweeping and just jolt of a song from Zeppelin. What Bonham is doing, what Page is doing, what Plant is doing, the in-betweens, the ins and outs, and the fact that Plant wrote this about a true story of a woman that he was seeing that pretty much gave him an ultimatum and said, it's either me or the band. And he was like, fuck off. See you later. I'm sticking with the band.
How many women have ruined rock bands because of ultimatums?
Yeah, right. It's just such a... I don't know. There are certain Zeppelin is like no other band for me. I mean, we talk about Kiss, but I'm not at a loss for words when I'm telling you how much I like Unholy. Okay, when I love this when the track is performed live, John Paul Jones plays a triple neck guitar with a mandolin, a 6-string, and a 12-string.
Yeah, that's. I can do that too, dude. Do you know how fucking amazing of you musician? And he's not like out there like fucking shining a light on him.
No.
He's probably in the background, hidden underneath the darkness, playing through fucking 3-headed guitar.
No. One thing about this song too that I noticed is that there are sections of it where it's paced like Kashmir. Like this, it's got like a very slow kind of churning emotional vibe to it. But I don't know. This song just does it for me. This is Zeppelin to me.
Beautiful song. I think it's the best lyrics that Plant wrote. I think if you look at when they were performing this, probably the 17-year-old testosterone-fueled fan in the audience is not going to appreciate this like the someone that's lived and gone through relationships. I mean, it connects, and I think this song, as you mentioned, Tommy, starts out in just a very subtle, soft manner, and then builds up. And at the 2:30 point, I know, Tom, Zeus, that you guys aren't big Beatles fans, but there's a guitar riff that sounds exactly like the beginning of Band on the Run, the guitar sound, that just, it made me think it's of the time. It's some of the sound in it from the 70s. But Jay, all like kidding aside from earlier about Kashmir, the sound when this song's grooving, the dun dun da da da, that's the sound that I actually, because I feel like there's the influence from Kashmir in the song or the other way around, and that's what I hear. And I'm like, this is what I like, and it's not being shoved down my throat, but this is a song that I discovered on my own. And as I said, with these later tracks, I think I'm savoring it more than if I was listening to this in high school and college.
Well, this song could definitely be used as our theme song for how long we take between episodes. And it's a Zeppelin song. So 10 years gone in between House of the Holy and Physical Graffiti. But
that's what it feels like.
Yeah. When I listen to this song, it's one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. The subtlety in the intro, it's restraint. All great musicians can show restraint when they need to, and I think that's the most impressive thing, because Zeppelin can be, excessive at certain points in songs, and they can, they love to have the excess, that comes along with these monstrosity anthems and these big, huge arrangements, and that's what you love about them too, in a certain way. Zeppelin is the greatest band, as we know, but they're the greatest band that does the build, does the tension in a song.
Good call.
Right. So, I mean, whether it's this song, whether it's Kashmir, whether it's In My Time of Dying, whatever song, it is, there's a flow to it that you feel like something's coming, or you feel like, there's going to be movement, different movement, and they do it better than anyone else. And this song just has so many waves of music and so many waves of emotion. I think for me, up until this point, because I think there's a couple songs that come on some albums after this, that this is Plant at his most emotional in the way right? I mean, he's a howler, he's got, that blues voice, but this is really like, you could feel, a sense of sadness in this song. He really reflects that in his voice, or maybe a sense of regret, because obviously.
Well, I think there's something to be said. I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like there's something to be said about writing a song about something that happened to you personally that involved like a real emotional change in your life,
Right. And even though the ultimatum was, her or the band, and the band was incredibly popular and successful, there's always going to be a piece of someone who says, what if I wouldn't have done this?
Right.
How happy would I would have been? And there is that sense of wonder. And I think it comes across in his voice, and I think the music matches it perfectly. It's a great song.
10 Years Gone, written by Page and Plant, was going to be an instrumental. Then Robert came up with the lyrics about the girl from 10 years ago. And the only reason he does that triple guitar is to do that fucking all the overdubs that Jimmy does, a million of them on this song. So he has to have a fucking mandolin 6-string and a 12-string.
Time out really quick. 10 new bands that are out there, they played the music on the album and they did it live, and they used other instruments. They didn't track the other instruments because, we don't have anybody to play it.
That's right.
Yeah.
He strapped himself with 3 fucking guitars around his neck like a monster.
Exactly. While they're using the bass pedals.
Well, yeah. Well, not like showing off. He just played it. That's what the song required.
Exactly.
Like something like C.C. DeVille would do, playing one of Poison's great songs.
This next one is Fallen Angel. C.C., where's that triple neck guitar you have for this one?
Oh, man. What a haunting opening riff, right?
Oh, man.
And then just into like that more dun, 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 dun. Oh my God. I don't know how many riffs like on this album that we've talked about, and some like melodies that are just so legendary and moving. Like you could almost do like of all music, like, I don't know how many from Physical Graffiti would be on your top 100 of every song by every other band. And they're all on this fucking album, which is insane. Yeah, Robert doesn't come in until about 113. And I like the build up to that.
Yeah.
Right? And then, boom, Bonzo fucking hits the drums and shit.
Oh, it's like he smashes down.
Oh, my God.
So good.
It just takes on different moods and transitions. And Jimmy's guitar solo is just beautiful. And that whole, did you ever really need somebody? I read it, and then I'm like, oh, my God, yeah, that is true. He sounds raspy like Rod Stewart in that. Mm. There's something going on with his voice. Mm-hmm. It's not the Jimmy Page belting out from, Dazed and Confused. Completely different. It's got a lot of more rasp to it. Mm-hmm. And did you guys realize, without reading the lyrics into the song, that he actually says 10 years gone in the song?
Isn't that wild?
I didn't know that until I read it. I'm like, what does he say 10 years gone?
Towards the end.
At the bottom. Yeah. I never heard it. I didn't even think about it, but it was amazing. Again, I'm like, it sounds like, if you don't like Led Zeppelin, you must be like, oh, listen to these four guys jerk off the fucking... But I'm serious. How many brilliant more songs can there be? This is just fucking over the top.
I think not liking Led Zeppelin should be classified as some kind of mental illness, because I don't know how you can like rock music and not be enamored with Zeppelin.
Yeah, but like if you're into classical music or you like jazz,
but if you're a rock music fan,
and
I got no use for Zeppelin.
Oh, rock fans that don't like Led Zeppelin are Poison fans.
That's you gotta listen. You gotta listen. Good time.
You gotta listen to Firehouse's third album.
Go listen to your Simpleton, unless it's the Kotzen album. That's all I'm going to say.
How do you not like Hanoi Rocks? Nitro's got a better song on their third album.
God. We're going to go down a dark path right now.
Yes. Let's pull up. Stay on target.
The Bullet Boys shoot the preacher down. It's just a stone cold classic.
Oh, you think 10 Years Gone is good? Have you heard Ode to Joe? All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, that Wasp debut album.
School Days. The amount of time it took Blackie to write School Days is how long it took Plant to write 10 Years Gone.
Dude, that is like actually one of the more decent songs on that album.
Let's not forget about Hurricane Alice.
Let's forget.
YYZ.
What are you talking about? It's not Heat 2.
Stop. Go.
Next song.
Night Flight. Now, here's a song that I truly do not think I discovered at all until the box set came out. And the one thing that I love about the box set that I will give credit to Zeppelin, unlike other artists' box set, is the entire box set is a shuffle. Nothing's in chronological order. Nothing is grouped by album. So you put on CD 1 or whatever of the box set. It's like there's songs from everything. But anyways, I fucking love this song. And I think this is such a cool pop song, but it has like a bluesy country kind of vibe to it. And I love the part when it's like, I just jumped a train that never stops. And he's like, oh yeah, come meet me in the morning. Won't you meet me in the middle of the night? And the way like he's hitting those notes, and the way that JPJ has like the keys running through the background. I just think this is a nice, another shifting of the gears for the band right here. And again, we say deep cut, but this is really deep, and it's not heavy, it's not kick-ass. It's like, I don't know, like country, bluegrassy pop rock. I don't know. I just think this is a really standout track, and maybe that's because it's so deep and we never really hear it.
It's unique because I was wondering if this is where it seems like Plant was really kind of just confident. Early on you hear about how he had to almost defer. Page kind of ran things, and this song, it's almost as if they let him just cook. There's no 45-second intro. It just goes right into him with the lyrics, which is very
great.
unique. very unique. It's got a different sound, like you said. Is it kind of bluegrass? Is it just, kind of riffing? But then there's in the middle when everyone's cooking together. It's just of the time of the sound. If you told me that Ron Wood and Keith Richards were doing the rhythm, it's almost got like a sound like brown sugar.
Okay,
it's got that dirtiness in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a cool song. I just, there's no real pomp to it. But once again, it's something that I think just discovering later on, you appreciate it more as, this is something I discovered myself. Was never on FM radio or anything like that.
Yeah, this is a true deep cut, along with Down by the Seaside. I mean, you can't get more deeper than those two songs. And I love it because it's a simple song. I mean, like you said, it's straight to the point. It's a rock song to me. And I think I'm trying to find a song in their catalog prior to this that is similar to it, and there really isn't. You could compare Dancing Days, The House of the Holy, and whatnot, but I don't think anything else compares to Night Flight. And I think that's what endears me to the song, because there really isn't anything that you can say is a sister song or whatever. It's unique until itself. And this was recorded, I believe, for Zeppelin 4 or Zeppelin. Yeah, I think it was Zeppelin 4. And, just a great tune. Love it. Absolutely love it.
So, Night Flight, written by Jones, Page, and Plant. Plant wrote the lyrics about reading an article about nuclear damage test threat. And apparently everyone grab your shit. Yeah, everybody grab your shit. It's fucking crazy time. In addition to that, it's like war is coming and something. So if you think about it, the lyrics, this came out when? 75?
Mm-hmm.
In 71, Going Mobile was written by The Who on Who's Next. Similar theme, like grab your shit,
grab your shit,
fuck out of here.
Yep.
There's stuff coming on. I'm going to be like going on the run and stuff. It's a carryover from Zeppelin 4, written in 71. Never played live, but did do it as a sound check. Jeff Buckley covered this song.
Really?
And it's on his last compilation, which I think was called You and I. It just begins with that hi-hat from Bonzo, which he usually doesn't do.
So good.
Love the groove, the drums, the lyrics, the guitar. I think Robert shines on this song more than any. His vocals are almost like behind the beat. Like he's talking real fast, and he's just talking over the rhythm that's going on, but it fucking works. And then when the music stops, and talk about an earworm, and Robert says, "Oh, mama, well, I think it's time for leaving." Back the music gets up.
So good.
Holy shit! And then Bonzo does that one more time, then back to that part was I once saw a picture of a lady with a baby. Like it's just,
and a very special kind of
special what? I just think Robert is killing it as much as Bonzo on this. This song, I've always loved it, but studying Physical Graffiti more, fucking, like, it just shot up the charts for me as far as a favorite on this. I fucking love it. It's just brilliant. I think brilliant. And is it, like, crazy, artistic, critical, like In My Time of Dying or anything? No, it's almost a little fucking Houses of the Holy, straightforward rock song, but they fucking hit it. The melody, Robert's nuances and vocals and Bonzo's drum, it's just fucking incredible. Love this song. Love it. All right, let's go to the next track.
The Wanton song. So I remember listening to Physical Graffiti, and I remember we've already talked about the Rover. And I remember hearing the Rover and being like, wow, what the fuck? And then I remember hearing the Wanton song, and I think my brain melted, just split in half when I heard this song. I've said it a million times before. I'm a drum guy. I'm a bottom guy. I don't think, off the top of my head, I haven't done official scientific research, but in my opinion, There is no more kick-ass metal groove that Zeppelin has ever done between Page and Bonham than what the two of them are doing here in this song. The song absolutely pummels you with a combination of drums and riffs. And the best part of the song is after they come out of that little breakdown, and there's about 20, 30 seconds of nothing but that bass, B-A-S-E, not bass, John Paul Jones, basic drums and riff. Just that da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then Bonham just crushing the drums to death. And this song, and you got that squealy, sexy, groovy vibe from Robert Plant that he's doing in each of these verses. And I just love it. And one little tidbit that I found out about this, one of my all-time favorite bands that we've covered on ARC, Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello, great guitarist, loves Jimmy Page. There's a song on Rage's second album, Evil Empire. There's a song called Viet Now. If you listen to that, Morello says he was inspired by the main riff of the Wanton song when they were writing that song for that album. This is absolutely one of the best things Zeppelin has ever done, and I think one of the hardest and most, like I said, metal type of songs that they have ever done. Absolutely crushing song by them.
Very unique song. I know you just mentioned riff. I had What a Jam, What a Riff. And It almost seems as if Page and Bonham were coming up with this on their own, and then it was, okay, Robert, come up with some lyrics. The lyrics are interesting because with the songs and the lyrics they've used on some of their, even on this album, but on the previous albums that are the kind of what would be more equated with the bluesy-like songs. Mm-hmm. This, it's interesting that the suggestive lyrics may not necessarily fit with the sound, but who cares? It's just a great, great beat, great sound. I just laugh when you look at or hear the lyric of, you came, took my seed from my shaking frame. It's like,
so good.
What the hell's going on here?
I love it.
We're gonna talk about later of them with maybe underage individuals. It almost sounds like this may have been an experience that Plant had in his youth with an older woman or something like that.
Yep.
Jay.
Every time I'm making wonton soup, I always play this.
Oh my God! I was waiting for the wonton joke.
This song is a special song. Another true deep cut. Not too many people who are just, outside, casual Zeppelin fans know this song or even know it exists. I do agree. It's a very heavy song. I'd say probably this and Immigrant Song probably are two, the heaviest riffs that you can find in the Zeppelin catalog.
Yeah.
Proud of my son. He was in School of Rock, and when he had his senior show, which is the last show they do before they move on, to college and stuff, he was able to pick a song to play, and he wanted to do Wonton Song.
Nice.
So, yeah, he loves the Wonton Song. I believe this is also Tracy Gunn's favorite Zeppelin song, which is the Wonton Song too as well. But yeah, this is a song that they'd never played live. There was a couple years ago, they did release a live version that was recorded during a sound check, along with When the Levee Breaks, which was like Christmas in July, because that was both soundboard recordings, incredible recordings of it. They did do this during the Page and Plant tour, when they toured in the 90s, which was pretty special for Zeppelin fans that never heard this song. Of course, me being younger than most Zeppelin fans at the time, appreciated them doing it. But again, it's unique in its own way. This is another track in Zeppelin's catalog that sounds nothing like anything else. And it's never been able to really be duplicated. You mentioned the song by Rage Against the Machine, was inspired, but, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I really have a difficult time when people cover Zeppelin, because the songs are so unique and the songs are so different. And I've never really, only a handful of artists have been able to do Zeppelin correctly, and which is why I have such a disdain for that tribute album in the 90s. I just feel it's just one big pile of dog shit. And when I hear bands do now, like the younger generation starting to do like Stairway to Heaven, which bothers the shit out of me. But it goes back to songs like the Wonton song, right? For every Stairway to Heaven and for every Whole Lot of Love and these great songs everybody knows, there's this undercurrent of greatness with these deep cuts, and we talk about a few of them here on this album that's filled with them. In the Light, Night Flight, Down by the Seaside, and the Wonton song. And to really appreciate Zeppelin, the depth of their music and the depth of their catalog, because they're known for the heights of their career and the songs that are known by everybody, but it's these songs that are these gems tucked away in these great albums that really show you what the band was and why they're considered the greatest band of all time.
All right, the Wonton song written by Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. It said it was played live a few times and considered one of their real heavy metal type tracks. Rainbow supposedly borrowed from this, and Zeppelin borrowed from when they did Lady of the Lake from Long Live Rock and Roll. There's no real chorus, and Page loves that and says, I don't mind it because he loves the riff. Original track was going to call Desire. Robert loves this song, and I'll be quite honest, I don't see where the accolades are coming in. It's okay. It's nothing special. Wow. It's just a riff. It's just a heavy guitar riff. Vocals on it. There's no real good melody. Then it has this like weird, like almost like jazzy bridge kind of thing. Do 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 do, like whatever it goes off on. Again, we've had this conversation, Tom. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. I have friends like you that like hard rock, heavy metal kind of riffs and shit. Unless there's melody behind it, it doesn't work for me. This is great. It's loud. It's heavy. But I can't explain it. I'm not a big fan. Never was. Didn't really like it. And it's okay. But if this is like the worst, and to me, like type of music that's on this album, holy shit. But yeah, it's just not my type of music. It's just not. Let's go to the next track.
Boogie with Stew. Always Zeppelin likes to do the weird stuff. So it's based on a Ritchie Valens song called Ooh, My Head. I can't believe that I like this. I think it's like a barroom saloon piano boogie drunken song. Like it's catchy in a really weird way. It's got that piano that you hear like in like a Western saloon, with the swinging doors open and stuff. I don't know. And the weird, the percussion is almost like clapping, whatever they're doing. And Plant just sounds great. It's got a really infectious vibe. I mean, we'll say it again. This is the 13th song on the album. It's completely different than any other song you've heard so far on the album. I mean, is it my favorite Zeppelin song? No. Is it the best song on the album? No. But I think, again, it's a shift of the gears when you're listening to this. And I think it's catchy. It's experimental. But this is what Zeppelin is. And I think they pull it off. I just don't think many bands can do what Zeppelin... Actually, I take that back. Nobody can do what Zeppelin's doing on this album. And pulling off a thing like this and making it work. I find it catchy in a really weird way.
I am shocked when I was, we'll get to it in a little bit when we do our rankings, how many songs on the second half of the catalog are on the higher end for me.
Yep.
I love this song. I think, as you said, Tavi, the piano, it doesn't fit with a lot of the album. It's a fun song. Jay, I know you have talked about the influence of your grandfather. When I was writing my notes, I was like, yeah, that could be Jay's grandfather playing the song in the background, playing the piano. Just, that kind of beat playing in a bar. The other thing that you mentioned, Tommy, that percussion.
Yeah.
Like, where did I hear that? That sound, the only other time I really remember hearing it is the song Betty Davis Eyes.
Oh God, Jesus! There's a reference.
Carnes.
Yeah.
The second half of that song has that same sound, and I really don't remember hearing it anywhere else. It's just a cool song. It's not pretentious or anything like that. I just like towards the end when he starts doing the rock on, you start hearing more of the mandolin. It was like did JPJ just walk in halfway through going, hey, I'll just jump in and start filling
exactly.
A little bit.
I love it. Yep.
Yeah, great tune.
Rockabilly. I mean, this is, the precursor to the song Hot Dog on In Through the Outdoors. And if you know Plant's background, Plant is huge into rockabilly. I mean, that's one of his primary influences outside of the blues. And if you kind of listen to the music that he's been doing up until the last album he did, but he did a lot of rockabilly stuff too as well throughout his solo career. So, when you kind of know that history, it's not surprising that they found a space for this song, and I think that kind of maybe made them more comfortable to do a song like Hot Dog a couple of albums later. But I enjoy it. I think it's a fun song. When you talk about Zeppelin fun songs, you talk about good times, bad times, rock and roll, stuff like this. And I think on the deeper cut side of things, this is just, no substance, just a good rockabilly tune. And again, Zeppelin showcasing their diversity with a song like this.
All right, so Boogie with Stu, it's credited to Bonham, Jones, Page, Plant, Ian Stewart, and Richie Valens. I'll get to that part of the story. So they basically found out, I guess they heard that Richie Valens' mom didn't get any money from the song when Richie Valens died. So they're like, oh, let's credit the mom. And so they credit the mom, and then the mom, because the production company, whatever, of that song, it's like, fuck this. You're not going to give us a credit. We want the whole credit for this song. Yeah. They're like, go fuck yourself then. We try to help this lady out, and you guys came in and ruined it. But they did settle out of court. It's an informal jam session with Ian Stewart, who's considered like the extra Rolling Stone, the sixth member of the Stones. He was their tour manager and did a bunch of other stuff for them. Great on the piano. There was a piano there when he came around, and apparently it wasn't playable. Then he comes on and he could actually play it. So an informal jam session started, and with that, Robert starts ad-libbing lyrics of stuff that he knows. So he starts singing the lyrics to "Oh My Head" from Richie Valens, which he loves, like rockabilly. And then basically Ian Stewart's adding that boogie-woogie sound to it, which is all over the Peter Criss solo album. That piano, which is fucking incredible. And if you hear Ian Stewart's piano on this, you can tell he's part of Zeppelin 4 because of rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
That's his piano.
Zeus, are you sure it's not Rolf that's playing?
That's definitely Rolf.
Rolf comes in on Peter Criss's solo album. Okay?
And why are we talking about Peter Criss's solo album during the Zeppelin Chronicles?
Because it's awesome.
Because this is a fucking great show. That's why. And we're talking about a great album. Peter Criss's solo album. So the song was originally referred to as Sloppy Drunk. Sloppy Drunk. Oh, my God. Bonzo plays the same drum pattern on the whole fucking song. This is before drum samples and fucking Vinnie Vincent drum machines came in. Yeah, he just does the same thing, and he keeps up with it. And then there's, like, the fucking hand clapping and tambourine and Stu's big boogie-woogie piano. I think this song is just another one of those. You're right. It makes it unique. Another unique type song for this album. Mm-hmm. And I love these acoustic jams. Fucking love it. This is right in my wheelhouse for Zeppelin. I love this shit. Would have fit perfectly on Zeppelin 3. The part that you were talking about, also Murph comes in at about 1:15 when Robert goes, ooh, my head. And then all of a sudden, like the little mandolin solo. He does a couple of them, I think, in this, along with a little guitar solo in Stewie's Boogie Woogie solo. Yeah, it comes back in at 2:40. I fucking love it. Just, I don't know, they have that weird laugh at the end. Like the hand claps at the end and the song goes into laughter. Robert loves his 50s and Elvis. Remember his shit? He started doing the honey drippers. Come with me.
Oh, that's terrible. God, please.
He loves that shit. He loves that shit. Yeah. He loves the 50s.
When did we talk about that album, the Zeppelin Chronicles?
The Honey Drippers Volume 1?
Nope.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to next track.
Black Country Woman. This is a song I have always loved because you got the simple acoustics and John Bonham and a little bit of harmonica. And I've always loved the intro and how the song was almost scrapped because of it. Should we wrote it, Jimmy? Nah, leave it. Like with the whole airplane.
The whole plane, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I think that is so cool. And then I picture the band, when I hear this song, I picture them like sitting around like a campfire or just sitting like on like a log and just hanging out and, kind of just pulling out the
did you say big log?
Oh God. Pulling out the acoustic guitar and just jamming. And I love how, the first half of the song is just, hey, hey, mama. And you got Jimmy Page is kind of picking. And then all of a sudden you hear Bonham come in with just a kick drum. And then when Bonham establishes the rhythm of the song with the kick and the snare, I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is what I'm talking about this band. They can blow your brains out with a song like the Wanton song or In My Time of Dying, and then they can just be like, no, we're just gonna sit down for a minute and just do this. And then the harmonica comes in. Fucking brilliant song. I've always loved this song.
Incredible tune. Absolutely. Number of years ago I read the biography on Plant, so even getting a better understanding of just the for lack of a better term, the dig to his wife and the relation or relations with her family. But it's the Bonham. I mean, how many mics were around there? Or we've seen or read the stories about how they had to say, you're being too loud. It was almost as if, all right, Bonham, just go at it. He just takes it to another level. But at its core, it's a simple song. It's not, there's no fillers. There's no crazy, electrical. They keep it, like you said, around a fireplace. And it just shows how powerful the band can be and with just a few instruments.
For all you youngsters out there, the song is not about a black woman, okay? Black country is part of a area in England. Yep. They refer to it as the Black Country. So for all you that have been thinking about, it's about an African-American woman, it's not. So I hate to change your perception of the last 30 years or so of what you thought the song was about. But anyway, it starts out as like a bluegrass song and like a campfire song, like you said, Tom, and it just kicks in, and I never get tired of hearing that kick drum kick into the song, and how, like you said, how Plant or Bonham defines the beat and the rhythm of the song when he kicks in everything else. This song was part of their acoustic set that they did to kind of give people's ears a break during their shows. So they did this. I think they did Bron-Y-Aur Stomp sometimes. That's the Way, Going to California. So they kind of rotate. But this was a song, especially on the Physical Graffiti tour, that was kind of a mainstay during that period. It's another deep cut. I think it's probably a little bit more popular than Down by the Seaside and Night Flight. I think there are some people that do know this song. But again, this whole album is just twists and turns of just whatever they're bringing out in their musical genius. This song is a part of just this whole album journey of music. And every time, especially as Murph said on the back end of this album, it changes, like drastic changes. You think about it, you go from Wonton Song to Boogie with Stu to Black Country Woman. I mean, they all connect, but there's like this uniqueness to all of it. And then, prior to that, you got 10 Years Gone. You've got all this other Night Flight happening, and it's just, you are in awe of their greatness with these songs and on this album.
Black Country Woman, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, recorded for House of the Holy in 1972. Working title is Never Ending Doubting Woman Blues. Supposedly at the end of the song, what's the matter with you, mama? He says that line, Never Ending Doubting Woman Blues, and they cut it out for some reason. I don't know why. I thought it would be pretty cool to leave that in. Recorded outdoor session. And that's why you got the plane out there. They were doing it outdoors. And Kramer says that you could also hear birds, too, because it's outdoor. I don't know. There's no bass in it. It's just mandolin and guitar. Played live as a medley with Bron-Y-Aur Stomp, which would have been amazing to see live. At 1:32, you can hear Bonzo kind of say something. I don't know what the fuck he's saying, but so the actual conversation, Eddie Kramer's the one who says, shall we roll it, Jimmy? And then Jimmy Page says, we're rolling on. Other voices, what? One? And then, no, one again. Then it says, got to get this airplane off. And then Robert Plant replies with, nah, leave it in.
I love that.
Or leave it, apparently. I've always loved that fucking folklore of the fucking the plane flying over.
Yeah.
And I always used to think it was like, shall we roll it, Jimmy? Shall we roll it?
I love it.
The most British fucking voice. So Bonzo's entry comes in at like the 1:33 mark. And then he comes in full, like at, I think the 2:15 mark. And it's just everything I love about Zeppelin 3 is right there with this song. I love these acoustic Zeppelin stuff. Nobody does it like that. It's just a beautiful, fucking fun little song. And Robert on the harmonica is fucking very underrated. Does a good job with all that stuff. Love the song. What can you say? It's another great track.
There's that one part towards the end of the song where like there's that hesitation from Bonham. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's towards the end where he goes, he's playing the beat, and you think he's going to hit it, and then he does that hold, and then he comes back into it again.
I think you're talking like someone goes, yeah.
Oh, like,
and then just crashing cymbals. Oh,
yes. For someone who really doesn't understand what the pocket is, that right there is why he's so unique and so great as a drummer.
Yeah, and you can say that a million different times on a million different Zeppelin songs that you're like, what he's doing, I don't know what he's doing, but I fucking love that. How does he do it? How come nobody else is doing this? It's amazing. Amazing shit. All right. Let's finish this album with the last song.
Sick Again. And what a way to end it. We were just talking about the brilliance of Bonham. Bonham fucking destroys this song. I love the riff. It's heavy. But I love how there's like a little off tempo there at the end of each line when Bonzo is just crashing in with his fills. And then there's like this kind of trippy type of bridge. And then there's a portion of the song where it kind of it turns a little bit, and Bonham is just destroying the shit out of the bass drum. It's just dun 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 dun, and then it turns back around. And this is a song about groupies. Robert Plant talking about 13-year-old girls. I mean, you thought Christine 16 was bad? Fucking forget it. I think this is like super deep cut, super heavy. This is almost like Zeppelin doing like alt rock or something, or like I just think it's a really interesting song, and it's super heavy again with Bonham just destroying the drums. It's great. And I've picked up a weird little tidbit. I love these little factoids. So again, that Amazon Prime documentary about the making of Physical Graffiti, Ron Nevison again was talking about the title of the song, Sick Again. And he said, I think I recall correctly that the title of the song came from the sound that Bonham's hi-hat was making. And he went, sick again. Like he kind of did that way, the way he said it, and then they play the song, And I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, that is wild if that's where they got that from. Because I always wanted, like, Sick Again. Like, it's kind of a weird title. But regardless, I think it's a deep cut. I think it's another kind of borderline heavy metal song here with Bonham just destroying it. Love it. Great way to end the album for me.
Agree with everything you say, but knowing the story of Laurie Maddox and some of the people that passed through with the band, this song should be called Sick Fuck. Like the lyrics you're using it just has not aged well at all. And like you said, Gene Simmons could say, "Hey, at least ours is 16." They're referencing a 13-year-old. But I mean, with the lyrics, it was a little more blunt and direct compared to some of the subtle, innuendos, double entendres. This is kind of more right to the point, probably talking about some experiences. So I would view this as like this was setting the bar for cock rock, type songs, kind of in your face. Powerful song though to finish the album, all things notwithstanding.
I love this tune. I think hearing it live on the bootlegs that I have, you combine the intro to the Rover into this. This is a pretty special moment in their live shows. And as far as Bonham goes and destroying this song, when you think of the two guys in the band that were chosen as unknowns, Bonham and Plant, when you look at their arc in this band, like both of them, I mean, we know who Page is and we know who John Paul Jones is, right? I mean, gifted musicians, reputation that they had as studio musicians. We knew the greatness that they were, but to have these two unknowns get better on each album, and when you hear Bonham's playing on this, there is nothing before this that equals to what he's doing. And then when he goes on to like Presence and you hear Achilles' Last Stand or Full in the Rain, and In Through the Outdoor, I mean, you hear just where he came from on Zeppelin 1. And then when people talk about his playing on Zeppelin 1 to what it becomes, like he became a better drummer every album. Plant became a better every album, and that's what I get from this song is like it's a culmination of their growth as the two unknowns to arguably the two most popular members of the band. Because of Bonham, the greatest drummer, Plant's considered one of the greatest singers. Obviously, you have Page, who's highly regarded. John Paul Jones is finally getting the recognition he has, probably over the last couple of decades, where he was an afterthought for so many years and no one really gave him, the credit. People used to think he wasn't that good of a bass player and whatever, all that nonsense. But I really appreciate, as a Zeppelin fan, if you do the Zeppelin homage, right, and you start from the first album and you go all the way through, there is a significant step forward every album with Bonham and Plant, and it really ends well and showcases that here with this song, Sick Again, on Physical Graffiti.
Sick Again, written by Page and Plant. It's about the LA teen groupies called the LA Queens. Just, what the fuck is wrong with you? It was played live and usually came in as the second song. It's considered Zeppelin's one-time venture into glam rock, a la David Bowie, T-Rex, and Roxy Music. I don't know.
I never saw, when I read that, I never made that connection ever.
Yeah, I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
I don't get it either, but Bonzo coughs, so you can hear him at the end at the 4:41 mark at the end of the song. Kind of weird delivery. Like the verses, the last line of the verse doesn't fit. Like it's almost like the band has moved on to the other part, but Robert is still singing the verse.
Yeah, it's like an off tempo. It's almost like there's a beat missing.
I love it. They do that often. I think it's cool. Pretty cool guitar solo. Bonzo killing it right to the very end is what I have. And that's it. That's Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti.
We did
years later. Yes. So let's go around. Final thoughts. Wrap it up. Tom.
Yeah, I mean, God, what can we say that hasn't been said? I'll just say, kind of repeat what I said kind of at the beginning of the episode. To me, this is everything that Zeppelin does legendarily all in one package. You get everything they do great. You get the metal, the funk, the bluegrass, the country, the gospel, the blue. You get everything here. You get long songs, you get epic songs, you get rockin' songs, sad songs, slow. You get it all. It is the complete Zeppelin package, and it's just, quote unquote, studying for this episode. I fell in love with this album even more. This has always been my album, one of my all-time favorites. I just fell in love with it even more. I'm like, God damn it, these guys were fucking just beyond human. They're so good.
I know that when we get to the rankings, friendships might come to an end. I get that. But
I love it.
But that being said, this is their magnum opus. I mean, it's hard to say otherwise. I think if you rank songs a certain way or albums comparing it, it's a personal preference. I think that if you truly love this band and you have gone through their catalog, to say that the quality of other albums surpass this, I think you'll be up for a healthy debate. Even the songs that are going to be 14, 15, I think just about any other band out there would kill to have that in their catalog. And to your point, Tommy, it was really hard to just prep for this because it's the holiday season. And it's a short holiday season. Thanksgiving is so late. Yeah. So trying to squeeze this in. So I think come December 26th, I know what will be first up in my queue for albums to listen to.
Nice.
This is not only the greatest Zeppelin album, it's, in my opinion, the greatest album in rock history. And it's pretty easy to say that when you consider it's by the greatest band in rock history. There's something about this album that continues to resonate with me, even though I was born the year that it came out, and it is approaching its 50th anniversary next, I think, February. I think it was released in February, if I'm not mistaken.
Jay, quick question for you to think about and for the others. If they broke this into two albums, would it still be viewed the same way?
No. My quick answer is no.
No, I don't think so. I think the whole package, what it embodies, the diversity, the style, the uniqueness of everything, I think it altogether, you can't say that you can't break it up. You just can't do it. I think I don't really think there's any other album out there that even comes close. I think this is the pinnacle of rock and roll history. I think there's no other album that even comes close to this in terms of just songs, in terms of impact, influence, anything. Like, you talk to musicians, right? And they'll ask you, what's the best album by Zeppelin? Physical Graffiti. And there's greatness. I mean, and here's the thing, like, there's so many great albums. Zeppelin 4, Zeppelin 2, those are probably next in line after this. But because Stairway's on Zeppelin 4, Zeppelin 4 is highly regarded. Whole Lot of Love is on Zeppelin 2. That's highly regarded. But just to have the amount of songs and the way they're laid out and the way they're presented, I could listen to this song on repeat for days. It was an album on repeat for days, I should say.
All right, so Physical Graffiti, basically, I think I read a few different places, like, this is them at zenith. Like, they're not getting bigger. They're not getting better. This is their greatest musical composition they've ever done. It might not be your favorite album, but as a whole, as a band, was the band any better or bigger or more creative than this stage in 1975? I don't know. I don't think you can say they were bigger or better, because I don't think anything, I'm assuming, because we haven't gotten to it yet, but tops this afterwards. So this is probably them, hitting the high mark where they go, and then they're still going to hit greatness. But Besides the fact that this isn't a nostalgia album for me.
Me neither. I didn't grow up with it.
No, and I never, in my mind, when people ask what's the best Zeppelin album, I don't never go to Physical Graffiti. I'm always thinking one of the digits. Yeah, I'm always thinking of either 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Okay.
Because it's a double, I feel like it's cheating. But Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, Jimmy.
Jesus Christ, guys. I mean, you get bombarded with greatness after greatness on this album.
Yep.
And I can't wait till we start ranking this shit. So let's do that now. All right. 15 fucking tracks. Tom, lead us off.
Number 15 for me. Now, again, like Murph said, friendships might be strained here, but it is what it is. Okay, it's Physical Graffiti. Like Murph said it perfectly. The 15th song here would be some other band's best song. 15 for me is Bron-Yr-Aur, just because it's a 2-minute instrumental. That it just gets penalized for that for me.
All right, so just remember, gents, that when I give this, as we progress, things are going to become apparent, and there are personal connections that are
Murph, I know you're afraid of electric guitars. We know you're afraid of loud music. It's okay.
15 Kashmir.
No! Off the top rope, Murph. Oh, I love it.
I can't even look at him.
I love it.
Take your camera off. I can't even look at you.
This might be the peak of Zeppelin Chronicles. Murph ranking Kashmir last.
Take your camera off. I can't even look at you.
Go ahead, Jay. 15.
I'm going to go with what you said, Tom. I mean, as beautiful as it is an instrumental.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Bron-Yr-Aur.
Okay.
All right. In order for me to do this, I had to create a fucking playlist and then move the songs up and down. That's
exactly how I did it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The number 15 is very easy for me. That's the Wonton song.
Oh, that's more egregious than Kashmir being last.
No, it's not. It's not.
What? You know what?
You guys are going to have a great poll to send out after this episode.
Oh, fuck everyone right now.
Multiple polls.
Yeah, I'll give you a poll. Fucking smoking polls here. This is fucking...
Where's your lube, Murph?
14 for me, Boogie with Stu.
Hey, Stu, you're wrench Stu, motherfucker. Nobody made that joke yet.
I know. Thank God you did it. Murph.
14, Sick Again.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
14 for me, House of the Holy.
Bron-Yr-Aur.
13 for me, Down by the Seaside.
13, In the Light.
Ooh.
13 for me, Trampled Underfoot.
13, Sick Again.
Sorry, Jay. The piling on continues. Number 12 is Kashmir.
You people are sick in the head. Sick in the head.
Sick again.
12, Wonton Song.
Jesus Christ, Murph.
Thanks, Murph.
Number 12, Boogie with Stu.
12 for me is Custard Pie.
Wow.
I love that song.
This is going to be such a mess trying to figure this out. 11 for me, Trampled Underfoot.
Same seas, Trampled Underfoot, number 11. It's probably the only one we're going to match on.
Yeah.
Number 11 for me is Custard Pie.
11 for me is In the Light, which is brilliant.
10 for me is Houses of the Holy.
10, Custard Pie.
Damn, you guys don't like pie.
I do like pie.
But that
was my
pie. See?
Number 10 for me is Sick Again.
10 for me is Take Me to Kashmir.
Oh.
People are
Jay wants to quit.
sick.
Nine for...
Why do I even do this show?
So you can get angry. 9 for me, Sick Again.
9, Night Flight.
What?
There is some serious brain damage going on here.
Yeah.
9 for me is Down by the Seaside.
All right. 9 for me. All right. Black Country Woman.
8 for me, In the Light.
8, Down by the Seaside.
8 for me is the Wonton Song.
And then 8 for me is Boogie with Stu's Rent.
You have Boogie with Stu 8 and the Wanton song last.
It was the easiest decision to make, was putting the Wanton song last. That was my 100%. I have that last. Not even close.
Shocking, but okay. All right. Number 7 for me is Custard Pie.
7, 10 years gone.
Well, I'm surprised by that. That's a terrible pick. Murph, this is awful. Murph, if this was a fantasy draft, you would have the worst team.
I'm taking Rance Mullenix with the 3rd pick.
Take Shea Hillenbrand with my first pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Marian Hossa, even though he's been retired for 3 years.
Oh, there you go. That's a good name.
Moises Alou? What'd you say?
Yeah, he pees on his hands.
Jay, what do you got at 7?
Popping them up.
Number 7 for me is Night Flight.
All right. 7 for me is Trampled Underfoot.
I just picture Zeus in a white jumpsuit at a disco dance.
Like the guy in Airplane at that disco scene. Number 6 for me is Night Flight.
Number 6, In My Time of Dying.
God damn you.
Jesus. Murph, dude, what did you just wake up with? Did you take bad cake sandwich or whatever?
Dartboard.
Personal choice.
You need therapy if that's your personal stuff. Number 6 for me is In the Light.
6 for me is Houses of the Holy.
5 for me is Black Country Woman.
5 for me, Boogie with Stu.
Jesus Christ. It's a good thing I love you, Murph.
5 for me is Black Country Woman.
5 for me is Down by the Seaside.
4 for me is The Rover.
Wow.
4 for me is Black Country Woman.
Hey, Murph.
4 for me is In My Time of Dying.
That's the same thing I did. 4, In My Time of Dying.
3 for me, the Wanton song.
Oh. Pew!
3 for me is Bron-Yr-Aur.
3 for me is
out of adjectives.
Is the Rover.
Murph was getting his diapers changed when he heard this song.
Not only does he have emotional connection to these songs, but when he hears it, he smells baby poop.
Go ahead, Jay. What do you got at 3?
Number 3 is The Rover.
What is wrong with you people? 3 is Night Flight.
2 for me is 10 Years Gone.
2, The Rover.
There you go.
Number 2 for me is 10 Years Gone.
Same here. Murph ruined it for us.
Yeah, really. Number 1 with a bullet, In My Time of Dying.
Well, and that might be why you die at that certain time.
There you go, yeah.
Number 1, Houses of the Holy.
Wow.
Vanilla Murph strikes again.
How do you have Zeppelin, Kashmir last? House of the Holy?
It's the Bizarro. I did the Costanza poll.
Exactly. It's like the reverse. It's the opposite.
Hi, my name is George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents.
I like Houses of the Holy. It's the best song on Physical Graffiti.
Recording this in my basement.
I wear wool baseball uniforms.
Jay, what do you got?
For number 1?
Oh, Jesus.
Do I really need to say it? It's Kashmir.
Say it.
Dude. What's your favorite Zeppelin? Oh, Zeppelin 4. What's your favorite song? Oh, Kashmir. Vanilla
I have two distinct different Zeppelin favorites. My Zeppelin favorite of the popular songs is Kashmir. My Zeppelin favorite deep cut is That's the Way.
What, rock and roll?
Okay. Well, Zeus obviously has. Zeus, go ahead. You can announce your number 1, even though we know what it is. But
all right, number 1, The Rover.
Yep. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to do some math here to.
Well, I ain't fucking wasting my time doing that.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. This is all this. But you know what though? I think we kind of knew this was gonna happen. That this is such a crazy, weird, awesome album that it'd be all over the place. All over the place.
The poll should be The Rover, In My Time of Dying.
10 Years Gone.
Kashmir and 10 Years Gone. Let's be blunt.
Yeah.
Those are the songs.
And the second poll is, do I get extricated from the group?
No. The second poll should be, what is the worst pick? Either me putting Wonton Song last,
Murph putting Kashmir last.
Yeah.
Or Houses of the Holy first.
Oh, Houses of the Morphs. Oh,
actually, you know what? That should be a bonus. That should be a bonus poll. Which is more of an egregious ranking by Murph? Houses of the Holy at number 1 or Kashmir at last?
I'm telling you, he needs to sit on his Zeppelin Chronicles timeout.
All right.
He needs to sit on the thinking chair.
The thinking chair.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
I'm a kindergarten. I used to sit on a thinking chair a lot.
God. All right. So now we're going to compare this album with the previous 5 albums. Yep. So the first thing we're going to do is album cover rankings.
All right. So my album cover rankings right now are at number 5, Houses of the Holy, then Led Zeppelin 4, 2, 1, and 3. Physical Graffiti, number 1.
Really?
Yeah, I like the design, the cutout design and stuff. I just think it's cool. Plus, there's a little point of personal preference there that we were actually there and got our pictures taken in front of it and saw it.
Well said.
So, Murph.
All right, for my album covers, I have Zeppelin 1, Zeppelin 3, Zeppelin 2, Zeppelin 4, Houses of the Holy. This is an easy one. Physical Graffiti goes to the top, number 1.
Oh, wow, Murph picking something right.
Yeah.
And also, he read those from top to bottom.
Yeah, that's right, too, yeah. Jay?
My rankings are number 5, Houses of the Holy, 4, Zeppelin 3, Zeppelin 1, Zeppelin 4, Zeppelin 2 is my number 1, and I will insert Physical Graffiti as number 1.
Okay.
All right, so I had this as number 5, Zeppelin 4, then 2, then Zeppelin 1, then House of the Holy, then Zeppelin 3. This is going in at Zeppelin, in between Zeppelin 1 and 2. This is number 4.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I like it. It's just...
I also forgot, too, that Zeppelin 3 also...
more iconic.
I forgot Zeppelin 3 also has the cutout, too, like that wheel, that little spinning wheel thing, too. So that's awesome, too.
And I think part of the reason why, number 1, I can actually say I was where the album cover was taken.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that definitely adds to it.
All right. So now we're going to go to actual album rankings. This ought to be interesting.
All right, album rankings for me. At number 5, I have Zeppelin 4, then 3, then 2, then Houses of the Holy, then I have Led Zeppelin 1 at number 1. This is the easiest no-brainer in the history of rankings. This is number 1 by far. Physical Graffiti is number 1.
All right, Murph.
All right, for me, and this time I will start from 5 to 1. Apologies for the album covers. For me, 5, Led Zeppelin 1, 4, Led Zeppelin 2, 3, Houses of the Holy, 2, Led Zeppelin 3, number 1, Led Zeppelin 4. I will acknowledge that this is their best work, but I still have that personal connection to discovering Zeppelin with Led Zeppelin 4, so Physical Graffiti goes in at number 2.
Oh, well, that's a pleasant surprise, Murph. I thought you were bracing us to put this wicked low. So,
my album rankings, number 5, House of the Holy, 4, Zeppelin 1, then Zeppelin 3, Zeppelin 2, Zeppelin 4, and I will insert this at the top of my list at number 1.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. We could see that one coming.
Yeah.
So for me, from 5 to 1, I got House of the Holy, then 1, 2, 4, then 3 is number 1. This isn't beating 3, although it's the closest thing that'll probably ever beat 3.
Yep.
I'm putting this, and it's probably a better album, but the connection I have with Zeppelin 3, the introduction, it's just, to me, this is number 2 right there with Zeppelin 3.
I will tell you this right now. If Zeppelin albums were part of Album Review Crew, Physical Graffiti would be my number 1 at ARC album. It would beat out Metallica and all those other. This would be number 1 for me.
It's better than Sonic Boom?
What? Indeed.
Yeah. All right. Next part, we're going to go over to this.
This was a pretty easy one because I've been waiting to talk about this since we started doing this because I knew there's certain bootlegs that I have that really mean a lot to me, and there's certain bootlegs that are very historic for the band. You can't talk about Zeppelin bootlegs without talking about the Earl's Court shows.
Yep.
They were historic. They were just part of the band lore. There's very few moments in the band history that mean more, or shows that mean more than the Earl's Court shows. There were 5 shows over a span, I believe, 7 days, and they were epic. And they culminated with the show on the 25th. I believe there was a show on the 26th, but the reason why the 25th is so big is because it's their longest show that they've ever done, and that was 3 hours and 43 minutes.
And what was the date of that one, Jay?
May 25th.
Okay.
And the reason why is the set lists were pretty much identical throughout the 5 shows, except for the fact on this they did an extra encore of Heartbreaker and Communication Breakdown. You've got everything that makes Zeppelin great live on this bootlegs. And you can buy these. You can find box set bootlegs of all the shows. It's going to cost you a pretty penny, but they are out there. You can find them. But if you want to do them piece by piece, show by show, you can certainly do that. But the 25th is the longest show in Zeppelin's history. But these shows just tell you why and show you why they are the greatest band of all time. They do their acoustic set in the middle of the show. I think Tangerine was like part of it. I think Bron-Yr-Aur Stomp, Black Country Woman. I don't think they did Going to California during this, but I could be wrong. But that was pretty cool. They did these iconic Dazed and Confused 20, 30-minute versions. Whole Lot of Love. I think A Whole Lot of Love has got a 40-minute version on one of these.
Holy shit. Wow.
And it's all blues medleys. It's all like, it's just absolutely incredible. I mean, like, they just do so much great stuff during all this. And the Kashmir live was something special. It really is, like, if you're a Zeppelin collector, I mean, every bootleg I mentioned you should own, but there are a handful of, like, that you must own, and this is arguably the most historic shows in Zeppelin's career that you really have to. I mean, Earl's Court was like the pinnacle of Zeppelin. And you could see stuff on YouTube, too. I think there's a show or two that was recorded live that was broadcast on, like, the BBC while it was happening, and it's just really good. You know, back then the audio wasn't as dynamic as it is now, but Earl's Court is definitely the bootleg that you must own if you're a Zeppelin fan.
Nice.
So that wraps up another issue of our Zeppelin Chronicles. Jay, where can people find you?
I am on the Hook Rocks podcast. I've kind of taken a little bit of a break here over the last few months for different reasons, but you can catch great interviews. We've had some great guests this year. I have to mention the guests we've had this year because we haven't filmed this episode since Jesus roamed the planet. But Michael Anthony's been on, Joe Satriani, Stephen Piercy, Lita Ford, Christy Cannon. Sure, some great
Christy Cannons was on?
Yeah, one of the highest ranked shows that I have.
Of course it was. Why wouldn't it be?
Stephen Piercy talks the 40th anniversary of Out of the Cellar. Just some great shows. Some recent guests. We had Lee Kakaki from Pop Evil. We also had the guys from Wicked. We had Tuck Smith back on talking about his shows in Japan and in Europe. So catch us at the Hook Rocks on all social media. Give us a follow. Give us a listen. And I always appreciate doing these shows, even though some of the rankings from the other members are just blasphemy, asinine, ridiculous. But here we are. So thanks again for always for indulging me with Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Murph?
Well, as noted before, I am. This is the only podcast I appear on. Always grateful for it, but a member of following the Shout It Out Loudcast and the Hooks Rock. Follow the episodes. So I just suggest everyone else do the same.
Yeah, you both are Shout It Out Loudcast Hall of Famers.
That's right.
So with that being said, Tom, what about us? Where are we around?
Yeah, so if by chance, for some reason, this is your first time hearing us, Shout It Out Loudcast is usually an all-Kiss podcast. We release Kiss-related episodes every Saturday. However, we do the Zeppelin Chronicles episodes once or twice a year, depending on our calendar. We do Dorm Damage. We talk about movies, music, pop culture, and we have the album review crew where we review a non-Kiss and non-Zeppelin album every month. But you can find out all about us at shoutitoutloudcast.com, and we're on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, and our email address is shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com.
And we're going to end on famous last words. Let's start with Tom.
Meet me, Jesus. Meet me. Oh, meet me in the middle of the air. If my wings should fail me, Lord, oh, please meet me with another pair.
Let me take you to the movies. Can I take you to the show? Let me be yours ever truly. Can I make your garden grow?
Blind stars of fortune each have several rays on the wings of maybe, down in birds of prey.
Nice. Do you still do the twist? Do you find you remember things that well? I want to tell you, some go twisting every day, though sometimes it's awful hard to tell.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God, that was cringeworthy.
Please don't end the episode with that.
Don't ever do that.
Please don't.
All right, Jay from the Hook Rocks, Murph, Tom, Kiss Army, Loudcasters, Zeptards, all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the year. Look forward to doing this in 2025. Early 2025.
Yeah, early. Because Presents only has 8 songs, I think, so we should be good.
Happy New Year.
Gee, thanks, Jay. Tom?
Guys, thanks for this is always a fucking blast. I love talking Zeppelin, but yeah, we're gonna try to we try to get back to this. So Murph, thank you. Jay, thank you. Zeus is always my friend. Thank you. Zeptards, Physical Graffitards. Thank you.
All right, peace out, Girl Scout.